That is how it sounded outside Delaney Hall last night. At least 20 protesters arrested after they broke a new curfew imposed. After 3 weeks of rioting by the Newark mayor, Ross Baraka, curfew is now 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the area around Delaney Hall. And a man who identifies as a woman won 2 mountain bike races in an 8-day span in Oregon. The Oregon Bicycle Racing Association allows racers to select their gender category that best aligns with their gender identity. Those men, however, won't be able to compete as women in USA cycling events. Those rules say that only women born as female will be able to compete. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
We have a new Fed chair, and the Trump administration has hinted that new leadership at the central bank could be more agreeable to lowering interest rates. But with jobs data from March and April coming in unexpectedly strong and the economy weathering higher prices relatively well, there's growing consensus among investors that the Fed's next move will be to raise interest rates, or at least keep them where they are. This week, we'll zero in on more employment data with the government's JOLT jobs openings on Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll get ADP private payroll numbers. And on Thursday, weekly jobless claims. Tomato inflation? Yeah, the price of tomatoes up 40% over the past year. Getting the blame, lower crop yields, higher shipping costs, and the Trump administration's tariffs on Mexico. And lawyers for the Trump administration say they'll appeal the court decision allowing businesses to apply for refunds after President Trump's tariffs were deemed illegal earlier this year. Dave Packer, ABC News.
And stock futures looking pretty good. Dow futures are plus 196 right now. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Oh, looking so good this morning as you head out this early morning hour. You've got no problems to speak of on 24, 65, or even on 40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, and welcome on into a Monday, June 1st. And always appreciate you being here. Joan, it sounds like we've got some weather that we're going to have to contend with. As a matter of fact, before this show is over, from what I understand.
Yep, that's what we're being told.
Okay, we got heavy rain, hail, high winds, all before, 9, 10 o'clock?
Yes. Yes. And Melanie Layden said, we're not concerned about tornadoes with this one. So that's good news.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you. It's good for the hydrangeas and good for the drought. We spoke with Stefano DiPietro on Friday. We're very close to ending the drought, so we'll have to see if this brings enough rain to solve our drought problems. So thank you, Joan. Let's see here. What is going on in Iran? Joan, you had something that I actually didn't have. In all of my extended show prep this morning,
Yeah.
Iran's president has, you said, resigned?
He resigned. Yeah. I thought, and I
Is it now just, so is this Stumpy? Is this gay Stumpy? Or is
No,
this
no,
like,
no.
okay, this is the other guy.
no, Pezeshkian.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yeah, him. Okay.
The actual president.
The one that nobody really cares about.
Nobody cares about, and obvious, and that's what he said, essentially, is that he and his government have not been any part of these discussions, any planning. He is not a part of it. And
Yeah.
he said, I'm already nothing, so I'm just going to go away and be nothing.
Well, he's probably like, okay, so Iranian leaders are getting killed left and right.
Yeah.
So if I'm not going to be part of the process, then why am I going to possibly die as part of the process?
Right.
So he just decided, okay, whatever. Well, so we have the president resigning. We have the fact that we have hit Iran again. We've destroyed one of their drone facilities. We've said that Iran had shot down one of our drones and was also threatening our ships. Kuwait says Iran continues to bomb their nation. They are constantly intercepting incoming missile fire and drone fire, Kuwait is, from Iran. And Donald Trump had an interview. Oh, by the way, and also coming up here, as soon as I play this audio, a late night post just several hours ago from the president insisting still that diplomacy is within reach, even as we continue to trade rocket and drone fire. Donald Trump did an interview last night with Laura Trump. This was on Fox News, and this was President Trump. We do have video for this, talking about what is next.
Up with the Department of War, as we call it, and it's been very successful. You saw Venezuela. It was a one-day win, and this is really a win already. We've defeated their military, essentially defeated their military. I would rather get a deal because we can open the strait immediately upon signing. The one guarantee that I have to have is that there will be no nuclear weapons. They've agreed to that. And it was very interesting. They originally said, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, well, what happens if you buy a nuclear weapon? So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase a military weapon. That's a big difference.
All right, so that is part of that interview with Laura Trump. And obviously, it is a big difference between having the ability to buy nuclear weapons and manufacture nuclear weapons. Bottom line, though, obviously, and I've said this 1,000 times, all of this depends on the transparency involved because we know that Iran lies about their intentions. Can we pull Joan's mic down? Somebody's playing audio from somewhere, and it ain't me. So anyway, the bottom line is Iran and the transparency. We know that they lie, so we need to make sure that we understand exactly what it is that they're doing at all times. Iran, they've always insisted that they're not trying to manufacture nuclear weapons as they enrich uranium to 60% and higher. Again, you only need uranium enriched to 3.5% to power a city. They have enriched uranium all the way to 60%, and from what I understand, higher. And so clearly they're trying to enrich uranium up to that 90% to manufacture a nuclear weapon. It is just obvious. I mean, everybody clearly knows what it is that they're up to. And so, Donald Trump, I get that he wants Iran to say that they're not going to manufacture a nuclear weapon. Iran already has. People are saying, oh, this is going to be a first for Iran. No, it's not a first for Iran. It's not. I mean, all you got to do is look it up, man. But whatever. So bottom line is we need to know what they are doing at all times.
So we're getting what we want slowly. Very tough negotiators. It takes a long time. I'm in no hurry. I'd like to say I'm in a hurry because, gasoline prices are going to come tumbling down. But if you're going to be in a hurry, you're not going to make a good deal. And slowly but surely, we're getting, I think, what we want. And if we don't get what we want, we're going to end it a different way.
All right, and I think we're all basically accepting that this is going to end in a different way. I believe so anyway. Because, I mean, wasn't it on Friday, Joan, when we left here on Friday, it was like, okay, so we are just one signature away from having, but we knew that it was basically an agreement to keep talking, right? So it really wasn't an agreement anyway. But, I mean, now here we are on Monday, and you and I called it. Everybody called it. This is going to end with no agreement. Donald Trump apparently now has sent his response to Iran's response as far as what needs to happen to continue the negotiations. And Iran is now saying, well, we need to have certain rights given back to us if we're going to continue on with this discussion. So both sides going back and forth. We're not shying away from military action. That is clear. As I mentioned, we bombed them on, I guess there was a couple of different bombings on Saturday and Sunday. We say that Iran was acting hostile. That's why they did it. Clearly, President Trump wants to end this with diplomacy. Now, in this late night, early morning post from literally a few hours ago, Donald Trump said that he wants political hacks to stop trying to undermine his negotiating position with what he calls constant chirping. So this is what the president said. Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us, Donald Trump wrote. The president taking aim at what he called Democrats and seemingly unpatriotic Republicans, accusing political opponents of making it harder for him to navigate one of the most dangerous foreign policy issues of his presidency. Here's the quote. But don't the Democrats and various seemingly unpatriotic Republicans understand that it is much tougher for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political haps keep negatively chirping at levels never seen before over and over again, that I should move faster or move slower or go to war or not go to war or whatever, Donald Trump wrote. Just sit back and relax, the president says. It will all work out well in the end. It always does. So that is President Trump talking about unpatriotic Republicans and the Democrats. You might remember that there's a lot of back and forth between our two countries. Obviously, Donald Trump has proposed changes to the text of Iran's response to our response. Again, overnight word came out that Iran said that there will be no deal unless their rights are restored. Now, what are those rights? We're going to talk about that straight ahead. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Okay, we don't see any delays so far this morning. No accidents, no problems on 24, 65, or on 40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. And we were talking about the weather. And Joan, can you keep me updated on when the heavy rain and the hail and the high winds are going to show up this morning?
Yeah. Now, Melanie was talking about, even in the 7 o'clock hour, this could start.
Okay.
So, and it's one of those things that'll last kind of all day long.
All right, very good. I mean, not good. It means a commute's going to, blow for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So,
but right now, I mean, everything, I'm looking at the radar, everything looks clear all around us for a good hour or so.
Lightning and thunder, too? Going to have all that?
All that.
All right, very good. Now, remember, because every time that it rains, people start yelling at me to remind people to turn on their lights when it rains. So there's your warning. By the way, are you aware, Joan, 65 is going to be shut down heading, I mean, obviously like well north of Nashville. Mm-hmm. But we had the Glock store thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
I met a lot of truck drivers. And I'm not shocked that we have a lot of truck drivers that listen to the radio program. But a lot of them travel between Nashville and Louisville, like every day, back and forth. 65 is going to be shut down heading into Louisville, Kentucky.
Why?
They're doing some sort of construction. But it's going to be like completely shut down. So
explore this.
Oh yeah, it's awful because I got to go up to Louisville. My daughter's outside of Louisville.
Yeah.
So next weekend I'm having to head up to Louisville. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get there, but it is going to be shut down.
Roads in
It's
the middle of
already
nowhere,
shut down.
Kentucky.
Oh yeah, there's back roads. I think you can take. I think it's 264. But I mean, this is like traffic Mageddon. At least that's how they're treating it in Louisville. I guess it's like between. There's like a I don't know. It's like a five mile.
I have the details.
Do you have the
want it?
details?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So they're doing it first of all because there are 3 aging bridges that need to be fixed. So the shutdown is from Jefferson Street downtown to Interstate 264 interchange.
Yep.
It is a 5-mile stretch of I-65. And it's going to force a detour of the traffic onto either westbound I-264 or westbound I-64 until August 1st.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't know why they have to like do all that because I'm very familiar with those bridges. Why do they have to do all the like? Can't they not leave like a couple of lanes open?
They're like 15 years behind on most of their major interstate repair.
They're replacing all 3 bridges. So I think they feel like
They're going to replace
this is a
all
rip the
3 of those
Band-Aid off.
bridges. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because they can't get anything done in a timely manner. I'm with Joan. Rip the Band-Aid off and do it all at once.
Yeah, just suffer now and everybody will forget about it.
Don't they know that I have to get to Kentucky?
Apparently not.
Don't they know that I have to get to just the other side of Louisville?
Don't they know it's Dan Mandis on the roads?
Come on, man. So I, of course, had the bright idea. I said to Amy, hey, can we just like fly to Louisville? And she's like eye rolling me. It's like, that would still put us, because the airport is well south of Kentucky, of Louisville. So she's like, well, that would still put us, south of the closure, which means that we would not be able to get north of Louisville. So bottom line is, apparently it's going to be, if you're one of our fine truck drivers that are listening, because I noticed that they all listen in the 5 o'clock hour, because it's like an early thing, that career, being a truck driver. Mm-hmm. So if you're one of our fine truck drivers that has to go between Nashville and Louisville every day, there's several of you, hit me up on the super text line and let me know how bad the traffic is. 615-737-9986, because I truly do want to know how bad it's going to be, for selfish reasons, of course. So anyway, it is 518 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, coming up, Joan and Sam, did you see, coming up at 5:35, maybe we'll talk about this, did you see the absolute meltdown that Morgan Wallen had on stage in Denver? He was so angry that he hurled a piano across the stage.
That's insane.
Did you see that?
He's got some anger issues.
Now, I'm being facetious. I'm laughing because I was talking to one of the country guys about this before the show. So they're treating this like he just combusted on stage, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't.
Oh,
He
okay.
basically what he did. Now, what he did. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about just very briefly what Morgan Wallen did on stage in Denver, because I've come to a decision, Joan. I've come to a decision, Sam, that when things break here in the WTN studio, which apparently the talk back between Sam and I is not working, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge today, because I've been talking to Sam like 5 times already in this first segment, and he can't hear me. So, but when things don't work in the studio, Joan, we're going to pull a Wallen.
Oh, you're just going to start throwing things?
We're just going to start throwing stuff.
I like it.
Because I think apparently I guess I'll go ahead and do the bit now. So apparently his piano wasn't working properly. And so he's trying to do, during his show, one of the final songs is Sand in My Boots, and it's only him at the piano, right? So apparently his piano has not been working. And he's been asking for his piano to be fixed or whatever, and it just, I guess, as the story goes, has not been fixed. So in Denver, I guess it was like Friday night or Saturday night, I don't know, and I'll have the video by 5:35. But he says, F it, I'm going to go ahead and finish the song a cappella, because you can tell he's struggling with the piano. So he does the final probably 60 seconds of Sand in My Boots a cappella. Sounded amazing, sounded really good. He finishes the song and he like pushes the piano and it topples over.
Oh,
now,
no.
Thankfully, it doesn't like topple off the stage and land on someone.
Yeah.
But it toppled over. And I know what he's thinking. What he's thinking is, all right, UMFers, if you're not going to get me a new piano, I'll really break this thing. So you've got to get me another piano. I want to know who got fired after the show.
Yeah.
Because that, I think Sand in My Boots is the last number. And so he had to have gotten off the stage and probably got backstage and like let somebody have it.
Important distinction. This was a piano or a keyboard?
You know what? That is a great question. It looks like a piano, but I bet you it's a keyboard. I bet you it's a keyboard like dressed up like a piano, because I thought the same thing that you're thinking of, Sam, which is, what kind of a piano is that easy to topple over? So if you go on Instagram or Twitter, you'll see what happened. It's almost like, Joan, you may or may not be able to relate to this, but you know, like Pac-Man and Galaga and Asteroids, you know, when we used to have those, really big, really heavy arcade games.
Yeah.
Well, these days, they have the same thing, but it's actually a really light screen and it's sort of dressed up or packaged like a big arcade game, but it's really not. And so I'm wondering, to Sam's point, and they're really light and you can kind of move it around a little bit. So to Sam's point, I'm wondering if this was a keyboard that was sort of packaged to look like an actual piano. So did you find it, Sam?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I would say that's a legit piano.
Then how does a legit piano, and I would be
well,
the
you're
first,
playing a stadium in Denver. It's got to be wired in somehow in order to carry through the monitors. So I imagine there was an electrical component failing that never got replaced.
But how does a
They're not that
piano
heavy.
topple over?
I mean, they're top heavy. Like all the big, brass strings are in the top. So all you got to do is just give that a good nudge.
Oh, okay.
It's like a legitimate worry when you're teaching children how to play that they don't pull it down on themselves.
You know what's so crazy, Joan? I don't know if I've ever been in front of a piano. I must have at some point in my life.
Oh, come on.
I was forced to take lessons for 5 years.
Were you really?
Yeah, I hated it. I was like, I want to play guitar. It's actually a cool instrument. Mom's like, no, you gotta master the piano first.
You know what? Tell that to Billy Joel. Tell that to Elton John. Well, Elton John's a bad
I was
example.
about to say, I'm not short. I'm not gay. I don't need it. But Billy Joel
But
needed
you are so eloquent, and we so appreciate that about you, Sam.
What are you doing? Why do you say things like that?
Can't help it sometimes.
Clearly not. Anyway, Billy Joel used to get all the chicks. Dude married Christy Brinkley. So
Where's his hair now?
where's my hair? What does that matter to anything? You know what? I can't wait.
I like who I am, Dan.
I hope in 15 years I can find you and you are bald like me. I hope that I have that pleasure.
You in that
'Cause
solar-powered wheelchair.
You keep making bald jokes and all these things, and it's like,
I'm not directing them at you.
I know, but you say these, whatever. Just moving on. Anyway, so Morgan Wallen toppled over a piano.
This will be fun to review at 5:35, though.
Yeah, and I think there's an F-bomb in the audio, so I don't know if I can play it on the air. So anyway, there you go. 5:24, so we are awaiting the rain. Joan has the news at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, why a wrong way crash on Briley Parkway occurred this weekend, and who is now charged in it. Pretty sad story coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning now, 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we may get some thunderstorms around here throughout the day. Channel 4's Melanie Layden says there's not a lot of reason to be concerned, however.
As far as storm threats go, heavy downpours, gusty winds, those are our main concerns. This is not going to be a big tornado event. We may not even see much hail with this either. A little pea-sized hail is possible, but not going to be anything to worry too much about.
And our high temp later on, about 81 degrees. We'll keep you updated throughout the morning. A wrong-way crash on Briley Parkway over the weekend. It ended with one man being killed and a teenager being charged with vehicular homicide.
Metro Police say the 17-year-old was driving west in the eastbound lanes near Clarksville Pike. He smashed head-on into another driver, 66-year-old Alan Rincon of Clarksville. He died at the hospital.
Yeah, the teen driver suffered minor injuries. He's also being charged with DUI. In Lebanon, police have arrested 40-year-old Robert Moore for pulling out his handgun and firing shots over a road rage incident early in the
This
morning.
happened on South Cumberland Street, right in between the Chick-fil-A and McDonald's there. Police say no one was hurt in that shooting.
That's Danielle Ledbetter at Channel 4. No word on what led up to the shooting, but police are saying that Moore fired 2 rounds. And have you seen that video of the loud boom that scared a lot of people in New England over the weekend?
I thought somebody ran into my garage with a car or something.
NASA says the noise was the result of a meteorite entering the atmosphere.
That's from WJAR in Rhode Island. The American Meteor Society says this one was only about 3 feet wide when it entered the Earth's atmosphere. It was traveling at about 75,000 miles an hour. The debris fell into the Massachusetts Bay. That is the latest news. Traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. am still not seeing any delays on the road so far this morning. All the major roadways check out just fine. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.536 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. And boy, have I heard from some truck drivers. So I'm getting all these different suggestions as to how to get from Nashville to Louisville with the big closure of I-65 between Nashville and Louisville, which we talked about in, I guess, 31W, I think somebody said. So there is all kinds of back roads. I've actually had to take those back roads before. I'm really worried about how long of a delay that traffic is going to be. Because, that's going to be, you think it'll be pretty massive? It's next weekend. It starts today. So I'm going to be watching. And truckers, if you could text safely, let me know how the traffic is as you're traveling through it. Because I'm genuinely curious as to what's going to happen with Traffic Mageddon in Louisville, heading into Louisville on I-65. It is closed, 65 north and south between 264 and the bridges. Now, we did find do you know the whole point about the Morgan Wallen thing, Joan, is that there's so many people in the media that want Morgan Wallen to fail, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that they want Morgan Wallen to fail, but this is, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, this is as he is wrapping up Sand in My Boots. And then for folks on Super Talk TV, you're going to be able to see him topple over this piano. Is that, by the way, Sam, is this like a baby grand piano? Is that what that is? It looks
like
small.
a parlor piano, probably.
A parlor piano?
It's even smaller than a baby grand.
Okay. I mean, here's the deal. He sounds really good, even a cappella. And now he's walking, at the end of the song, he's walking over to the piano, and he topples it, just knocks it right over. And so people are now saying that he melted down, he threw a tantrum on stage, the whole thing. And I think, and again, talking to the country guys, we both agree. I think that people are blowing it way out of proportion. And goodness gracious, how many guitars did like the likes of, name the guitarist, right? Jimmy Page is one.
Oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan had that one.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
He's in the middle of playing a set and the string breaks and they bring him out another guitar and he continues to play the bridge in the song until he's able to strap up the new guitar.
Yeah. Who was the band that they hate Donald Trump and the guy was at the iHeart Music Festival?
Green Day.
Green
Day, yeah.
Now that was the guy from Green Day, when he smashed his guitar, that was a meltdown. He immediately left and went into rehab. So that was a meltdown. This was just, you know what? I'm pissed. I've told my people my piano isn't working. And so you better have a new one by the time the next concert is, whenever that is. And so we'll have to see. I don't know if Morgan Wallen has made any kind of a statement, but whatever. They're blowing it. I woke up on Sunday morning and it was the top story on the Daily Mail. And for the life of me, I don't know why, except that they want Morgan Wallen again to fail because a polite society doesn't like Morgan Wallen because of all of that stupid history. So whatever. Anyway, moving right along. There are other things to talk about. Can we do real quick the 250th anniversary, 250th birthday party, the thing that Donald Trump was trying to put together? We talked about this on Friday. And all of those artists pulled out, right? You had Martina McBride, Bret Michaels, Young MC, Morris Day and the Time, the Commodores, CNC Music Factory. They all pulled out. And Donald Trump finally said, okay, you know what, this big 250th birthday concert blowout that we were going to do? Screw screw it. We're not going to do it because all these artists and all of these people in the media are saying that this was going to be a political rally and not a celebration. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead, and if they're going to tell us that this is going to be a political rally, if that's what everybody's beef is, then you know what? Screw it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make it a political rally. So I guess that's what they're going to do. Although Vanilla Ice came out over the weekend, and Vanilla Ice said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and this was before Trump made the announcement that he was canceling the concert. But Vanilla Ice came out and said that he was proud to play America's 250th birthday party concert. He came out and said, absolutely, I'm going to rock it. But all of these other people didn't. And what I'm trying to figure out, Joan, is, and we were trying to figure this out on Friday. All of these people, I just named them, Martina McBride, Bret Michaels, etc., they said that they were led to believe that it was going to be sort of like a non-political thing. And then, according to them, it turned out to be a political thing. And that's why they were pulling out. What I'm trying to find out...
It's nonsense.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where did they get that original idea that it was going to be non-political, or why do they believe now that it is going to be a political thing? Donald... And the only thing that I can see is that Donald Trump has been talking about it like it's a big deal because he's the president. So, of course, he's going to talk about it. That's part of what being the president is all about. So, I mean, I agree with you. And can I also say this? I'm a fan of Martina McBride, but, I mean, all these, who cares? Like, does anybody care about Morris Day and the Time these days? Does anybody care about the Commodores and CNC Music? Can you name
Bret
one?
Michaels, honestly.
What about him? You like him?
Like, who cares? He hasn't been relevant for a long time, right?
I think Every Rose Has a Thorn still gets airplay someplace, some whatever. I mean, listen.
But does he go on tour? Is he?
He does go on tour.
All right.
You know what these guys do? They'll go on tour packages. So it'll be like Bret Michaels along with.
Oh, I see.
I don't know, like Faster Pussycat and Danger and
yeesh.
Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so Donald Trump said, you know what, screw it. They're gonna say that it's a political rally. So you know what we're gonna do? We're going to go ahead and we are going to have a political rally. Now, that's all fine, well, and good. I mean, if that's what they want to do, fine. It does seem to me it is an absolute shame. And here's what I also don't understand is that Tim Burchett, of course, we all love Tim Burchett. I got video on this. So the congressman put out a video, and he must have been listening to us, Joan, on Friday.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Mr. President. Tim Burchett. I, like you, am a little ticked off and disappointed that some of these, I guess, so-called musicians have decided that they have some problem with celebrating our 250th anniversary of the founding of this great country.
By the way, this is Walking Tim. He's just apparently walking around either our nation's capital or out there in Knoxville.
To think that patriotism is going to offend somebody. We all know that these New York or Los Angeles or Hollywood PR firms wrote these statements. It's pathetic. Anyway, what we ought to do is, my suggestion would be get your friend and my friend John Rich,
there you go,
great musician, to lead it off. Mm-hmm. He's got some great patriotic tunes he's written and he sings, and I mean, it's just awesome. And let him MC the dadgum thing and have all these folks come in. There's plenty of acts in Nashville, people that are trying to get on a big stage like this. This is the world stage, be the largest stage in the world.
I told you, man, Six Wire. Six Wire would be a great suggestion. We made Joan the suggestion on Friday for John Rich. He also goes on to recommend Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood. All of these are what we said on Friday. But I understand that there's a lot of folks out there that would eye roll on this. I also believe that Jelly Roll possibly would do it as well. But
everybody in the country will be watching this dadgum thing. And let some of those musicians get out and sing a few songs. All we'd have to do is pay for their dadgum airfare, most of them, just to get them up there, and they'd love it. And then, of course, have Kid Rock. Nobody's more patriotic in the rock and roll world than he is, and he's awesome. And then I know you got his number. Heck, I've been with him when he's called you. And then the finale would be cool to have Lee Greenwood come out and sing. He's got a bunch of great songs, but of course, the ending would be God Bless the USA. And
So that is, Tim Burchett. Makes a lot of sense to me.
It does.
And by the way, can I just say this? I don't mean to criticize, but who didn't see this coming? That's the other thing, is who didn't see this coming when they invited folks like, again, not to belabor the point, but like the Commodores and CNC Music Factory. But, you talk about Lee Greenwood, Kid Rock, and most certainly John Rich. They're all, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but aren't they more relevant these days than CNC Music Factory or, I don't know. I mean, some of these folks that they had originally picked. I feel like Kid Rock and John Rich are more relevant than some of the people that have backed out. Martina McBride, I think you could make an exception. I do believe, I don't know, country fans, is Martina McBride still relevant?
They probably wanted her for one song.
Let Freedom Ring?
In Independence Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, but her popularity, not saying she's not talented, but, that kind of peaked in the 2000s.
Yeah. Also, I think going back to the whole Bret Michaels thing, wasn't President Trump kind of expecting his old pal, the one he supported when he had the a brain tumor? And President Trump called his doctors all the time and kept up with them. And,
yeah. Now,
he supported him, and this is the ultimate dagger in the back thing.
Now, also, Bret Michaels did say that he was worried about security, so there was that aspect as well, which I believe is a valid point. What is the statement that Donald Trump made, Sam?
We should have a giant Make America Great Again rally for $250 instead of having overpriced singers who nobody wants to hear, whose music is boring, and yet who do nothing but complain. Cancel it, just like I canceled my involvement with the failing and unsafe to be in Kennedy Center because a highly conflicted, crooked federal judge said that I should not be allowed to spend my time and money in order to make the center great again, actually far greater than it ever was before. It would also have been nice to see a Republican/Democrat union bring it back to life. The Kennedy Center is broken, unsafe, and busted, and has been for many years. Judge Cooper also stated the highly prestigious board of the center was not authorized to add the name Trump, despite the fact that hundreds of millions of dollars of my time and money will be put into it.
Do you know what's weird, Joan? Sam started out strong, sounding like Trump, but toward the end, you sounded like a drunk leprechaun.
It's because that was... He transitioned from talking about the concert to talking about the Kennedy Center and making it about Judge Cooper.
Have you noticed, by the way, I actually said this over the weekend to Amy and it made her laugh, so I'm going to go ahead and try the joke here. Actually, I can't do the joke here because it involves a curse word. But so on CNN over the weekend, because I can't help myself, I saw all of these different headlines regarding the arch that Donald Trump wants to build.
Yeah.
Federal judge blocks Donald Trump's, construction of the arch. Federal judge blocks Donald Trump's, desire to build the ballroom. Federal judge stops Donald Trump's renaming and renovation of the Kennedy Center. And I'm thinking, do you think that, when Donald Trump wants to, go to the bathroom, there's a federal judge waiting to stop him? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I said it far less dignified than I did on the radio. But that's the way that it feels. It's like everything that Donald Trump wants to do, there's some damn federal judge getting in the way. It is so incredibly frustrating. I mean, the ballroom makes perfect sense. These judges that are constantly getting in front of the things that Donald Trump wants to do, it is infuriating. So the more that this happens, the more I think Donald Trump is just, getting to the point where he's going to want to throw up his hands. By the way, everybody's, just like on Friday, people are throwing out their suggestions. Tom McDonald. See, I think they could pull this off, Joan. This is what I don't understand, is I do believe that they could pull this off. Ted Nugent.
Oh, he'd be
Tom McDonald.
so great.
Daryl Worley.
Mm-hmm.
right? One of my favorites is Jody Messina, and she's got a new song out. I mean, Jody Messina, I would be willing to. She's very American, proud to be an American. That's not her song, but I mean, she's very patriotic. Jody Messina, I bet you she would do it. So Aaron Lewis again. Trace Adkins.
Yeah.
You know what? Oh, what was it? Oh, old man disease. What's the song that everybody hated? Cars for Kids. So Trace, if you're up early and you're listening to Nashville's Morning News, because I guess he, at one point, I don't know if he still does, but listen to the show. Trace, we promise never to play the Cars for Kids commercial again. If you get on social media and offer President Trump that you'll play the 250th birthday party concert. There you go. This isn't Trace Adkins. This is Ted Nugent.
I know, but that's what I would want to hear for America 250.
You think, Ted, is he the one with the big old snake?
Yep.
You know what he could do, Joan? He could get his snake and he could paint it like red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Can you paint snakes red, white, and blue?
You know what? Let's do the safer thing would be like a little drawstring, little cowboy hat with an American flag on it.
Sure. All right, whatever. Anyway. Hank Williams Jr. People are saying Dolly Parton. I mean,
yeah.
Look, Dolly's not
she's
feeling great,
not,
folks.
yeah,
so
she's
whatever.
Not
I mean, I would love Dolly Parton.
Hank, if they let him shoot his lever action full of blanks, he did that at concerts. It was pretty cool. I don't know if they were blanks back then.
Would Carrie Underwood do it? I don't know if Carrie Underwood. I don't know much about Carrie Underwood.
There's a lot of the high-profile country singers that like to keep a...
Vince Gill? Bet you Vince Gill would do it. By the way, I'm getting yelled at by one person for my drunk leprechaun.
Yeah.
Is it only one, Joan?
Is there only one?
0964 from the 617. Drunk leprechauns? What's this, ethnic stereotype? Shame on you, Dan.
I was thinking that Sam sounded like a drunk leprechaun because that's what he was over the weekend.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Were you a drunkard over the weekend, Sam?
I wanted to celebrate the 220th anniversary of Andrew Jackson's duel. Something we take great pride in this state. Someone talked some trash about his wife, and then he shot the guy after taking a bullet. That's pretty cool in my opinion.
Hey, speaking of which, thank you, Sam, for the great segue. The Glock store thing over the weekend. I got to tell you, forget about me, forget about Murphy, forget about some guy named Chris Hand. There were a lot of Joan Jones fans that were there, Joan. Everybody asked, where is Joan Jones?
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, and I said she was at home stepping in anthills.
Yeah, I was.
So
this time I had shoes on.
There you go. Tim McGraw wouldn't do it. 5763. Tim McGraw's more to the left. But yeah, a lot of Joan Jones fans. I think there was over 1,500 people there on Saturday.
Oh my goodness.
I've never in my life seen it that busy at a Glock store open house. It was incredible. Oh, you know what? Carrie Underwood sang at the inauguration. Yes. Thank you, Pat.
And do you remember when it was sabotaged?
Yes.
And
it was sabotaged.
And she engaged the crowd to join her in singing.
She sang it a cappella.
Mm-hmm.
That was such an incredible moment.
Alice Cooper.
Oh, apparently Alice Cooper is the one with the big snake, not Ted Nugent.
I thought Nugent had a snake too.
I don't know. Last thing I think about is Ted Nugent or Alice Cooper's big snake. I'm just asking for the reptile. Hey, it's 5:54. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
We'll tell you why some lanes of I-40 in downtown Nashville were closed down yesterday, and it wasn't because of an accident. Crazy conditions on the roadways. It's coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
558 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm getting absolutely crucified over not knowing the diff between Alice Cooper and Ted Nugent. Just so we're clear, I was never a huge fan of either one. Am I going to get skewered for that? Listen, I liked Van Halen, Black Sabbath, Ozzy. I just, for whatever reason, Ted Nugent and Alice Cooper. I like Ted Nugent, a few of the Ted Nugent songs. But the bottom line is, I feel like the people that they originally booked for this concert, for the 250th birthday party concert, it's almost like they were going for like just low-hanging fruit or fruit that was like on the ground. There's so many. Oliver Anthony is another one that somebody mentioned, 8811. What about Oliver Anthony? I mean, what a great suggestion. So there's a lot of artists that should have been booked, could have been booked. I don't know who it was that was doing the booking originally, because a lot of people are saying, who booked these people originally?
Right. That person should be fired. Honestly.
They got to be fired.
Fired. Go ahead,
Sam. I'm going to throw down. You're fired in your best.
You're fired.
There you go. 6 o'clock. Jones with the news here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning now, 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We are expecting some rain this afternoon, all throughout the day, actually. But Channel 4's Melanie Layden tells us that these are not going to be severe storms that contain tornadoes. But the high today will be around 81 degrees. Keep it here. We'll keep you updated. Finally, a curfew and state troopers who have arrived on the scene at the New Jersey ICE facility that has seen 3 weeks of rioting outside.
The outskirts of the detention center has seen several protests, and last night marked the first night of a curfew that went into effect from 9 p.m. till 6 this morning for a half mile. Demonstrators rallied near the barricaded area outside Delaney Hall during the day. By dusk, protesters clashed with law enforcement for yet another night. Police were in riot gear. The mountain unit on scene to enforce the curfew, ending with a few dozen arrests.
Yeah, that's ABC's Phil Tate. The eastbound lanes of I-40 in downtown Nashville shut down on Sunday afternoons for several hours because of an oversized truck that got stuck under the Broadway Bridge. This happened about 4:15 yesterday afternoon. TDOT crews had to help it back up, and that one and another oversized truck right behind it, and redirect both of them to I-65 to get around downtown Nashville. TDOT says it does not appear there's any structural damage to that bridge. New concerns for Dems trying to change the balance of power in Washington.
His race is considered critical if Democrats hope to take control of the Senate this fall. But a new controversy is rocking the campaign of Graham Plattner, who is fighting to unseat Republican Susan Collins in Maine. A former campaign advisor reportedly told the New York Times and Wall Street Journal that Plattner's wife, Amy Gertner, gave his campaign a heads up that her husband had exchanged sexually explicit messages in the past with as many as a dozen women. ABC News has not independently verified the claims.
ABC's Hannah Batar there. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com.
Stock futures rose overnight with investors set to open June at new records. Fresh high watermarks were set Friday when the S&P and NASDAQ each rose 0.2%, and the NASDAQ closed above 51,000 for the first time. Rising costs have nearly 1 in 3 Americans taking on side gigs to make ends meet. E-commerce is the most popular way to earn cash on sites like eBay, Etsy, and Facebook Marketplace. Despite its $166 million budget, the latest Star Wars movie was bested at the box office this weekend by 2 low-budget films made by a pair of 20-something YouTubers. Backrooms earned $81 million in its U.S. debut. Obsession has collected $100 million in 3 weeks. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures pointing up. In fact, the Dow futures are up 218 right now. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. We've got an accident on 40 eastbound this morning past McCrory Lane, exit 192. This is in Pegram. Careful going there this morning. Just starting to pick up with some delays on 24 westbound lanes and also on 65 as you make your way in from the north. Of course, the delays there running through the White House area down into Millersville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Truth the other day that
6:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in. It is June 1st. It is Monday. We got some rain on the way. Joan, I don't know if you are in front of a radar or not, but word was we could have some pretty significant rain before the 9 o'clock hour, before the show comes to an end.
The radar actually looks like it may not arrive until around 10 o'clock. So we could be in the clear here. Let me just run through this radar a little bit.
When you say we, Joan, you'll notice Sam is making it all about us. We as in, I'll be home by the time this rain comes, which is fine.
It does look like in the 10 o'clock hour, this will arrive in the Nashville area.
Okay.
And, it's going to arrive with a boom, but we're told by Channel 4 that we're not really concerned about tornadoes, but there is a concern for maybe hail, heavy rain,
high winds,
gusty winds. Yeah. So,
all right.
Your garden variety thunderstorm.
All right. Thank you, Joan. It is 6:07. By the way, Joan, we're going to talk about Graham Plattner in a minute. So,
this is my favorite Democrat meltdown story of the day.
The best part, and I'm going to get to the story, but the best part of the Graham Plattner story is that the ex-wife, I don't know if you know the story, but the ex-wife told the campaign that he had been sexting with a dozen women. The campaign comes back and triumphantly says, it was only 6.
Oh, that's better.
So much better. So we'll talk about Graham Plattner coming up here on Super Talk 99.7. Though Donald Trump, I've got some video here. Donald Trump is, he gave an interview with Laura Trump. I don't know when it was taped, but it did air last night. And he talked about a number of different things, including, of course, obviously the war in Iran. One of the things that he said was that it is incredibly frustrating as the president to have to deal with the media always second guessing every move that he makes.
Iran is in a very bad position. They have no military. All they have is good talk, and they have a fake press. The fake news is probably their biggest asset. And I put something out on Truth the other day that I think was very profound. It said that we wipe out their military, we wipe out their Navy, their Air Force, their anti-aircraft, we wipe out everything, we wipe out their leadership, and then we wipe out their leadership a second time. And then at 2.5 times, we're dealing with the other half. And by the way, they're much more reasonable, and you could say that's regime change. But I said, so they would then raise the white flag of surrender. We give up to the great American military, the most powerful military. We give up, we give up, we give up. The New York Times would say, Iran has fought bravely and has defeated the United States of America. I mean, the coverage is so bad. You have a big win in a battle, and they say you lost. You knock out their entire Navy, and they say their Navy's doing fantastically. No, it was defeated, totally defeated. And they said, it's just a terrible thing for our country. And, to really be great, you need a fair media. And we don't have a fair media.
Well, Donald Trump is right. We don't have a fair media. However, I would also say that the president can't expect the media to be his own personal propaganda machine either. So here's the deal, though, with the media. Donald Trump is right. The reason why nobody trusts the media is because they're not fair. And so for Donald Trump, all he's ever known in his political life has been a media that lies and attacks him at every turn, which is why I try to fact check the media as much as I possibly can. But, we don't need to go on and on about it. But, we all know how the media operates. Donald Trump can do nothing right. He can't do everything that he does is wrong. They'll ignore his accomplishments and focus on his failures or perceived failures or accomplishments that they will try and turn into failures. That's what the media does. And Donald Trump is right. When he called the media the enemy of the people, I totally understood why he did that. The reason why he said that is because during his first term and certainly during his second term as well, all the media does is try to focus on everything negative, not only about Donald Trump, but also of America. And I'm sorry, but for the most of the media, that is just a fact. This is a media that has made the term "Make America Great Again" into something terrible and something awful and something almost white supremacist. So, for me, Donald Trump is right. I don't expect a whole lot from the media these days. By the way, a couple of examples, rare moments of actually decent media coverage over on Face the Nation and Margaret Brennan. So real quickly, talking about Graham Plattner. So he's the guy running for Senate in Maine. We were just talking about that. He's a Democrat. Very controversial. Well, as it turns out, in addition to all of his other controversies, he was caught sexting multiple women. Like 12. According to his wife. The reports were that he was talking to 12 different women. Campaign said, fake news, it's only 6, which apparently is so much better according to the Democrats. So his wife told his campaign while he was being vetted. So she didn't do it to out him. What she basically did was she said, listen, while you're vetting him to be the candidate for Senate for Maine, you should probably know this and know that this might come up. Well, then, I don't know if you know much about Graham Plattner's campaign. There have been massive defections. Like, people are leaving left and right because the dude is obviously a dirtbag. So the wife, somebody leaked it. Obviously, somebody left the campaign and somebody leaked it. So here's the deal. I do wonder this. Do the Democrats even care? And I say this full knowing that in Texas, Ken Paxton beat John Cornyn. Paxton cheated on his wife twice. And of course, we also know that Donald Trump is no Boy Scout. But I'm not going to get all worked up over, Plattner sexting 12 different women, only to say that the Democrats thought that it was a good idea, despite all of the clear character flaws. The character flaws that Graham Plattner has, they thought that he would be the one that they would throw their support behind. Don't forget, this is the same guy that had a Nazi tattoo. He's got a really checkered past, including saying rape victims had to take responsibility for what happened to them. He's written about bizarre sexual thoughts in porta potties. You can look that up if you want. The thing that I find fascinating about all of this, Joan, is that the Democrats still supported him, even though they knew all of this with Graham Plattner. So check this out. Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation this weekend actually has Chris Murphy on to talk about all this.
Campaign for Graham Plattner confirmed to CBS on Saturday that the Maine Senate candidate had sent sexually explicit texts to women other than his wife. This is in addition to other past controversies. Does he pass the character test?
Yeah, I mean, I have not followed this story as closely as others have, but I mean, Graham Plattner is somebody that served our country. He served his community. He's also made mistakes, and he has admitted that. Character also involves standing up to people who are bankrupting and corrupting this country. And this race is going to be a contrast between somebody that has put his life on the line for this country against somebody that is literally empowering the moral hollowing out of our nation from the White House. So he certainly admitted that he has made mistakes, but I think this is going to be a pretty clear contrast in Maine.
So forget about what Graham Plattner did. You'll notice what Chris Murphy did. He completely pivoted away from talking about Graham Plattner to Donald Trump. So all you got to do, if I'm Chris Murphy, all you got to do is say, it is clear that America doesn't really care about character anymore, and just move on. And I believe that that is, sad but true. So with all of this insanity going on this weekend, Plattner's wife jumps into the fray on social media and posts a defense of her marriage. I've got that audio straight ahead. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
No unusual delays on 440, 840 running accident free. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather goes, we are looking at some storms, possibly by 10 times of sun and clouds, heavy thunderstorms again off and on today, humid, and we could see some possible flooding, downpours, hail, damaging winds, etc. High of 83. Jones got your complete forecast coming up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So this is, and Joan, the Democrat Party knew all about Graham Plattner and all of this before they threw their support behind him. That's what's crazy about all of this.
Every candidate, if you want to be a GOP candidate, the GOP is going to do their background research on you before they throw any money behind you, because they don't want bad money. Their money chasing a bad candidate. They knew everything they needed to know about this candidate before he even spoke about joining the race.
Well, that's exactly right. And Joan, to your point, I was talking about how, Ken Paxton, obviously no Boy Scout. He's had his fair share of controversies politically and otherwise. He cheated on his wife. So I'm not like pearl clutching over the sexting. As I said, Donald Trump's no Boy Scout. But what fascinates me is the fact that with all of these different character flaws, because with Graham Plattner, there's a lot of them. We talked about the porta potty conversation and the rape victim comments and, going after Purple Heart recipients as well. We've covered all of these. I don't want to keep covering the same stories over and over again. But that's why in Texas, the Republicans didn't throw a lot of money at Ken Paxton. They threw all of their money behind John Cornyn. Paxton still won by a large, large amount. So for the Democrats, remember that you had Elizabeth Warren literally come out and say, he's my guy. He's my kind of guy. Graham Plattner. Really? Did she know all this? So anyway, now Graham Plattner's wife, after all of this comes out, and this came out over the weekend about all of the sexting 12 different women. By the way, do you know what I wonder? Do you think all the women knew about each other? Joan? And Sam, do you think that they all knew? Like, did they all these 12 women think that they were like the only one?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm with Sam on that. Nope, I don't think so.
All right. Here's what the very forgiving wife says.
Makes me really angry, disappointed, and I find it really shameful that there's a group of media outlets and people who are willing to spread gossip instead of talking about real issues that Graham is running on, like healthcare and education and childcare.
All right, but hate to break it to you, but when your husband is running for Senate, all that stuff is fair game. Sorry, but true. And in case you missed it earlier, she was the one that told the campaign through the vetting process. She said, by the way, that they have a great marriage. Okay.
Wait,
Doubt.
they're still married?
Doubt.
What?
I said I doubt.
Oh, you doubt? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what she also said, by the way, and it was full of expletives, and I didn't have time to, because we don't have video editing equipment here at the station. But she says that their marital therapist, his personal therapist, and her personal therapist are all helping. So there is literally 3 different therapists involved in this marriage. I'm not making fun of therapy. I'm just saying that's a lot of therapy for one couple, but okay. Is this someone, though, that you think should be in the Senate? Apparently the Democrats do. This is New Jersey Senator Andy Kim.
Do you have concerns about Graham Plattner?
Well, first I'll say is, I've been very much focused on the crisis in my home state, so I haven't been able to focus as much on this. But right now, this information's out there with any campaign in the country. The character and the transparency about the different candidates is going to come out. That's part of a campaign. And the voters will decide what it is that they ultimately think in terms of their ability to trust those candidates.
What do you think?
Well, look, right now, for me, I have not met him. I've never talked to him yet.
So nobody's willing to say, dude's clearly a dirtbag. And it took Sam all of 5 seconds to find yet another trio of nuggets about Graham Plattner.
Yeah, it came up with, just punched it into Google AI. Radical rhetoric in posts spanning from 2020 to 2021, he explicitly described himself as a communist and stated that all police officers are, can I say that word?
Yeah.
Bastards.
Apparently you just did.
Yeah. And generalized rural white Americans as racist and stupid, which, by the way, it doesn't get talked about enough on that whole app thing, right, with messaging people on this Kick account.
Okay.
Kick has been deactivated because it was flooded with sexual predators. So to still have it on
Sexual
your...
predators seeking children.
Exactly.
To be specific.
Exactly. So to still have it on your phone in 2026 is suspicious, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but they have a great marriage, Dan.
Sure. And I'm sure all the 3 different therapists involved are all doing their best to keep that marriage together.
He also said in 2018, he advocated openly for political violence, writing that people should, quote, fight with words, then fight with signs and fists, and then guns if need be.
So we heard from Andy Kim, we heard from Chris Murphy. Both of them basically said the same thing, which is, well, I don't know really much about it. Okay. Whatever you say, guys. One last clip as we look at some of the big stories discussed on the Talking Head shows. The ramifications, I know you'll love this, Joan. The ramifications of Jill Biden's new book and her interviews claiming that she saw no signs of cognitive decline in her husband. This is, oh, by the way, folks, I didn't say anything about this on Friday, but do you remember Sam and Joan when we were sort of joking about it's Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Jill Biden?
Mm-hmm.
People thought I was serious.
Oh.
People, I was not
Seriously?
correcting Sam and Joan, saying that they must call Jill Biden doctor. I was making fun of the fact that the left kept trying to tell us that it was Dr. Joe Biden, and it almost became like a meme because her doctorate is in, what is it? I don't even remember now, but she's not a medical doctor. She's a doctor.
Got a PhD in
it's like education. Yeah. All right. Anyway, this is Jill Biden. And I forget where she was, and her husband did that all the time, so it's not really a big deal. But this is Jill Biden, and she is being interviewed, and she says that she saw no signs of cognitive decline in her husband.
Ever see signs that he was falling into cognitive decline?
No.
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 Truly.
No.
The anchor is like, really? Like you never saw signs of cognitive impairment in your husband?
It's almost like she leads her with the no.
Right. It's like, honey, the rest of the world saw it. The rest of the world saw this, and everybody knew it was that clearly you just didn't want to admit it because you were addicted to your power and your influence. And we all talked about this on Friday about how she thought that Joe Biden was having a stroke on the night of that debate. And like any loving wife who thinks that their husband is having a stroke, they went to Waffle House and not the emergency room.
No. I mean, people were saying he wasn't the same Joe Biden.
Well, I don't think that's true. He was the essence of the same Joe Biden, but yeah, he was slowing down. He was getting older. I mean, we all observed that. When it's a very intense job. I think it ages you quickly.
Yep.
Democrats.
That is Joe. I'm going to be a little late. I'm sorry, but I got to play this because it's a follow-up. Margaret Brennan. Now, you've talked to Margaret Brennan before, Joan.
Many times.
So she had this whole thing where it was like this moment of self-virtue from this weekend where she's complaining about how the Democrats, they came on her show one by one during the Biden administration and said, Joe Biden was sharp as a tack. Listen.
Democrats stridently, including on this program, said time and again that his cognitive abilities were fine. How do you convince the public that Democrats are telling the truth now?
Yeah, listen, I think Democrats do have to be honest about the mistakes that we made in 2024. Obviously, in retrospect, Joe Biden should have stepped away from that race.
I like how, so Chris Murphy just has no response. But I like how Margaret Brennan is like, Democrats, including on this show, right? Talking about, and my question to Margaret Brennan would be, okay, so did you come out as a journalist and challenge the Democrats that came on your show, Margaret Brennan? Did you play the clips that talk radio and conservatives were playing over and over again, where it was clearly evident to anybody who actually chose to pay attention that Joe Biden was losing his ever-loving mind? Because it was obvious to everybody. So I love just, this moment of self-virtue from Margaret Brennan where she's like, they came on my show and lied. And it's like, well, did you hold them accountable? Way late. 627, Joan, what's coming up?
Yeah, coming up here, what one kid named his Fitbit got him in a lot of trouble.
Oh, my God. Favorite story of the day.
Honestly, this is just
favorite
amazing.
Story of the day. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the big story of the news coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Do you know what, Joan? This sounds like something a young Sam Rutherford would do.
Oh, yeah.
It does. This sounds like something. I guarantee you, when Joan tells this story and people who listen to this show and Sam would totally do that.
Yep, totally.
Sam, do you know what we're talking about?
Nope.
Okay,
I
then
can't wait
keep listening.
to hear this then.
All right, a lot more straight ahead. Yeah. Super Talk 99.7. Brentwood Jewelry. Give your father the gift of time this Father's Day with Brentwood Jewelry and choose from their large selection of timepieces. They've got incredible watches at Brentwood Jewelry. I've actually got one from Brentwood Jewelry. It is my favorite watch. Amy bought it for me a couple of years ago. I think it was for one of our anniversaries, but it is a great watch. And I can tell you, you walk into Brentwood Jewelry, number one, they've got all kinds of incredible watches and earrings and necklaces all over the place, but they've also got American flags everywhere as well. So Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Don't forget, they've got used watches, they've got brand new watches as well. They are Nashville's premier timepiece dealer. Find them online, BrentwoodJewelry.com. 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Their hours these days, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And again, BrentwoodJewelry.com. $629 Generator Supercenter. Dan Mandis here. You know how many ways we can lose power. You've got ice and you've got storms like what we've got coming here later on this morning. Snow, tornadoes. There's one surefire way, though, to get your power back on. A backup generator from the Generator Supercenter. Now, the Generator Supercenter is the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. They feature turnkey installation, certified electricians and plumbers, maintenance and service after the install, and a whole lot more. I love the Generator Supercenter. Now, basically how it works, the power goes out in your neighborhood. You've got an oh crap moment, and then your power is going to turn right back on thanks to your backup generator from the Generator Supercenter. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. Find them online anytime. Financing is available. They are waiting to hear from you. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Trump administration says the ceasefire is still in place, but there's some military action, just as President Trump said the U.S. was close to a deal with Tehran.
U.S. Central Command announcing it conducted self-defense strikes inside Iran over the weekend, targeting radar and drone sites. CENTCOM says the U.S. strikes were in response to what it called aggressive Iranian actions, which included the shooting down of a U.S. drone over international waters.
That's ABC's Karen Hua reporting. There's difficult news to share about longtime Grand Ole Opry announcer and radio host Bill Cody. The Country Radio Hall of Famer is in critical condition this morning after suffering from organ failure for the past few weeks and then taking a turn for the worse over the weekend. News 2's Megan Fee.
But last night, his heart took a downward turn. His daughter said he was placed on ECMO yesterday, saying, quote, "We need a miracle and we know God is able. Please, if you're able, stop and pray for these things. Our family can't thank you enough.
His family is saying that he needs a heart and kidney transplant to be able to survive. And a security incident prompted a United Airlines flight that had already departed Newark, New Jersey, and was on its way to Spain to turn around on Saturday.
They have security. Everyone's evacuating. Someone decided to name their Bluetooth device a certain four-letter word, so they're evacuating the aircraft.
That's ATC.com. That four-letter word, bomb. That's what the 16-year-old passenger named his Bluetooth Fitbit.
Nope, never would have done it. Mine would have been something like boobs and butts, all right?
Oh, okay. The FBI is investigating. No charges for this kid so far. Amazing story. I think a plane full of people, passengers, are pretty mad at that kid, though.
They were on their way from New York to Spain, had to turn around. They had to deplane. They had to, do the whole rescanning of the plane.
Yep.
They had to end up leaving. They ended up leaving like 2:19 in the morning. So the question now is, will this kid actually face any charges?
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to talk about that because there's a lot of charges that he could actually go to jail. I mean, I don't think that he will, but I mean, personally, I think that he should. And I'm going to tell you why coming up. So there you go.
Okay. So that is the latest news. Stick around. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
All right, Joan, thank you.
Yeah.
It is 6:36. By the way, Stuart McWhorter is going to be joining us at 7:06. He is Commissioner of Economic Development for the state of Tennessee. As you probably know, there has been a $20 million grant for Starbucks to move their corporate offices to Middle Tennessee. And it's been maligned by some folks in the Republican Party. So we're going to talk about that with Stuart McWhorter and get more of the details, maybe give some perspective from the state's standpoint on why this is a good deal for the state of Tennessee. That is coming up after the news at 7 here on Super Talk 99.7 Window Nation. Listen, the pros at Window Nation, they can help you get new energy-efficient windows at a great price this month. It is Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 Windows free sale. It is going on right now. You could replace all the windows in your home and get half of them for free. I will tell you, I just about an hour ago heard from a guy on the Supertext line who said he went through Window Nation based on my recommendation, one of the best moves he has ever done. And that happens often, by the way, with Window Nation. So thank you for letting me know. So with the Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 Windows free sale, you could also get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Window Nation, an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, and yours truly. Find them online, windownation.com. That's windownation.com. Dan Mandis here, Mark Spain Real Estate. Kick off the summer stress-free and sell your home at the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You're going to save time, make the most money, and eliminate all that hassle. You know, I do always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends here in Nashville because I know that they are going to sell your home hassle-free with a strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, here in Nashville, Mark Spain Real Estate sells over 4 homes every single hour, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. You can trust them to sell your home hassle-free and for maximum value. Now, they've been helping homeowners across the nation sell their homes for 30 years. They can help you as well. They've served over 72,000 satisfied clients. Their phone number, 855-299-SOLD. Tell them Dan told you to reach out, 855-299-SOLD. Find them online anytime. It's markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Watch it on 24 westbound in Smyrna. It's road work and 2 right lanes are blocked off. Pretty slow there. Got an accident in Pegram on 40 eastbound past McCrory Lane with the right shoulder blocked off by it. And on the West Loop, 40 eastbound off ramp to northbound I-65 west. That is a crash and the left shoulder off ramp also blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, so we've got to explain to some folks, Joan and Sam, what it means to name your Fitbit on your phone. It's like a Wi-Fi thing. Bluetooth. So, Sam, why don't you explain it? Because you'll be able to do it a lot better than I. But basically, you've got a phone and you've got a Bluetooth and you've got to name your account. And so...
Name the device.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
So, I mean, with anything you connect to your phone these days, if it's Bluetooth and sometimes other wireless connectivities, you can put a name on that device. And something like a Fitbit, you'll carry every day with you, and you want to keep measurements of stuff, you will have that programmed in your phone to auto-connect to that device. And so you set the name. I just have mine. I have a Fitbit, and it's set as Sam's Fitbit, something simple to that extent, but it's publicly discoverable so that when anyone that pulls up a Bluetooth scanning device can see that that device is active with a signal. It may not be able to connect to it directly, but it can see the name because it's publicly displayed.
So on this plane, as Joan was reporting, this 16-year-old kid names his Bomb, knowing that when they get onto the plane, people are going to be connecting or doing whatever they do, and other people, because you can see the accounts around you. And it says Bomb. They also were scanning on the airplane security system, all of the accounts, and even the security within the airplane saw this account named Bomb. And so even inside the plane, I guess the captain or the stewardess or whatever, they're saying whoever has the phone, Fitbit account, whatever, named Bomb, let us know who you are, just so we know that you're joking. And the 16-year-old kid,
see, that's
never
different.
raised his hand.
Yeah.
You know the parents are looking at their kid and saying, what did you do? You know the parents knew. And the kid's probably like, wasn't me. He finally admitted it. After the plane turns around, they land, and you've got dozens of federal law enforcement officials or officers waiting on the ground.
He's 16?
16.
Yeah. See, I thought he was like 12 or 13. When Joan teased us, I was like, okay, I could see someone being dumb enough, like if you were a middle school baseball player and you hit bombs out on the field, I could understand that. 16 and you didn't fess up? Oh boy.
The network was discovered by a passenger during takeoff. Flight staff was immediately notified. Still, the device remained online even after crew members' second request to turn Bluetooth off on all devices. The situation was then escalated up the chain of command, and the call was eventually made to turn the flight around. They say staff continues to reassure us as they believe this is a selfish joke, but the proper precautions must be taken in order to reach the safest possible outcome. And so they ended up, and people on the flight posting to their socials, who TF names their Bluetooth network Bomb? What kind of sick joke is this? I would be so mad. Like, because they were going to Spain.
Yeah.
So that's a long flight anyway.
Is it wrong of me that I'm glad the teenager is no longer going to Europe? Like, you kind of did it to yourself?
Well, they don't say whether or not he was allowed back on.
Is it mildly concerning to anyone that he made it through the airport with that device and nothing was detected?
I don't think they check the
Device
Bluetooth names. I don't think they do that.
I mean, it's
You throw you throw your phone into the thing and it goes through security.
Yeah.
But
Well,
do they
that's
check
to check the inside? But I mean, if people can publicly discover it on the flight, then it's not an invasion of privacy for the airport to have something to do that too.
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe during the time between security and getting on the plane, he changed it while they're waiting.
Oh, then definitely charge him. Definitely, because that would show up in device history.
Listen to these charges, right? So, Joan, you're a mom. If this was your kid, what would you say? So if they can ascertain that this was done on purpose, if they can figure out that it was his intent, and that is the word, if it was his intent to do this, he could get hit with the following charges: making or conveying a false bomb threat, providing false information regarding an explosive device, disorderly conduct or similar state offenses, interference with transportation or aviation operations, and potential federal offenses related to false threats affecting air transportation. So the biggest factor is intent, to the point, Sam, that you and I were talking about. When did he do this? If they can ascertain that he had just named this network bomb, then that proves that the intent was to create a false bomb threat on an airplane. And if it was, if he had named his network bomb like years ago, as a lot of people do, then it's kind of forgivable, I suppose. But that's the big question: is when did he rename that network?
It would have made more sense if I've had it named this since I was 12, and now they're asking for someone to come forward and clarify on the plane, hey, just make sure it's all a joke, and then I don't. See, in trying to get back into the teenage mind that forever exists inside the adult male brain, is I would almost think it's a social media trend, right? Like, oh, guys, I carried a bomb across the Atlantic.
Also start a social media trend. I think this is going to have legs, unfortunately.
It would come across as like, look at me, I carried a bomb onto a plane across the Atlantic. Ha, 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 ha.
Right.
And
Also, they've got to look at the kid's past.
Yeah.
Is he a good kid that just did a dumb thing, or is he a kid that's always in trouble at school, who's been the bully somewhere? Look at the kid's past and see, does he deserve a little grace, or is this an escalation of the trouble that he's been?
Okay, to Joan's point, you want to do a Daily Dan poll? Should they throw the book at this kid?
Yeah, I think.
Or
that's
should
a
they
good
give
one.
him some grace? We don't know anything about the kid, but he had every opportunity to say, my bad. By the way, the other thing that could happen to this family is that they could actually be sued by other people on the aircraft civilly.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and I don't know, they say separately from criminal charges, the family could potentially face claims for costs or damages if authorities or the airline sought reimbursement, though whether that happens depends on the facts and legal decisions made afterwards. I mean, the FBI is looking into this.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI. So this is going to be a big issue for this kid.
Which he could have avoided by fessing up, because they probably would have taken it from him on the plane, right? Maybe they get to Spain and they investigate it, and then they give it back to him, let him walk through customs.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have taken up a few hours of your time, but there would now you've ruined, what was it, 737? 150 other people's...
There's 190 passengers plus 13 crew members.
Yeah, you've ruined 200 people's day in a split second because you couldn't muster up the courage, which, I mean, in my mind, that sets an example of what happens at home. If you don't have... at 16, if I'd been called out in that manner, I would have stood up and, yes, this was me. This is what I did.
Those parents were like...
Yeah.
Because my mother would have tracked me down and beat me with a hammer.
So what did you do, man? What did you do? Go ahead,
Have
John.
your kids ever gotten in trouble like this?
My kids?
Yeah.
No.
So, okay.
Shakes head.
Ready for this?
Well, I'm like looking up like, did they? No, they never did anything like this.
So my kids are not trouble at all. But when my kids were growing up, I worked in morning radio. So I was never home in the morning. And my husband's job was to get everyone packed up and off to school. And on occasion, I didn't pack lunches before I went to bed at night. So they would have to do their own. Well, my son, my middle guy, who's turned 31 this past weekend, he was in, I think, 6th grade, 7th grade, packed his own lunch. He packed a chunk of cheese
Mhm.
and some pepperoni and crackers
It's actually super healthy.
and a knife to cut the cheese with.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And he was expelled from school, given the riot act. And I'm like, the kid's never done anything bad in his entire life. And he was mortified that he did this and caused any trouble. Like, go after the kids that cause problems.
Okay. Every husband listening right now wants to know the amount of crap you gave your husband for allowing
I did
the
not.
child to arrive at school with a knife.
I know that it was utter chaos in the mornings.
Okay.
You know, getting hit because he was a UPS driver. So he had to get out the door too and travel into Philadelphia. So he needed to get the kids on the bus, whatever, and out the door. It was chaos for him.
Honestly, your husband needed the knife for going into Philadelphia.
Yes, absolutely.
6:51. Joan's got the news at 7 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, there was a street. Hello.
Go ahead, Joan.
A street racing incident over the weekend in Nashville. We'll tell you how it ended coming up here at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, some of us, maybe you got rain over the weekend, and that means that if you're down in your basement or crawl space today, you need to check for moisture or water because you could have some issues and need some waterproofing, courtesy of my friends at USS United Structural Systems. They are the experts in waterproofing in Middle Tennessee. They also know, by the way, the times are tough, and they do want to give you options like fix it now, pay for it later. That's right. That is huge. Now, you know that you can't sit around and wait for the economy to get better before fixing and maintaining your home because these issues do tend to get worse over time. That means that it could cost you more money to fix if you wait. So USS, right now, they're offering you 24 months, no interest financing options because they do know the perils of waiting. They want to give you the peace of mind you need. The payments, of course, coming later, 24 months, no interest financing options. When you go through USS, find them online, USSTN.com, USSTN.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems. 6:55. Got to do this real quick, Joan. Got to do this real quick, Sam.
Okay.
So, of course, June is Gay Pride Month, right? So
Not in this state.
Not in this state. So several red states are doing their own thing. Of course, here in Tennessee, we are calling this Nuclear Family Month, which, of course, I love. That sparked all kinds of outrage. In Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders declared the month of June to be Fidelity Month.
Ha!
In a proclamation issued this past Wednesday by her office, seemingly, they say, as a rejection of Pride Month, she noted that cultivating fidelity to God, family, community, and country contributes to human flourishing and supports a healthy, stable, well-ordered society. And again, Nuclear Family Month in the state of Tennessee. Joan, do you know what they're doing in Boston?
I'm not even sure I want to know.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
Boston is celebrating Gay Pride Month by declaring trans period pride.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, my God.
Not my household, not my neighborhood.
Trans period pride, the June 17th event, which is set to take place at a branch of the Boston Public Library, is intended to raise conversation around transgender experiences with menstruation.
Oh, my gosh.
I guess, like, somebody's going to have to, this is like new math, right? So I guess this is for women who identify okay, I'm trying to figure this out. So just hold on. Is this for women who identify or say they're men, but because they're biologically women, they have periods? Or is this for men who identify as women and want to somehow have a period, and so they're trying to somehow make that happen? And by the way, you know what they're doing? They're giving away what they call period underwear. Joan, what is period underwear? Because from what I understand, period underwear, what it does, it's reusable underwear that replaces like tampons and all that.
No.
That's what they're saying. I looked it up.
No, there is no such thing. Like, if you have an actual period, there's no such thing as that at all.
There's might be selective garments that women reserve for that time of the month because they're comfortable and they can, conform to holding a pad or something. But to your question about what is going on in Boston, they mean both. They mean both.
So they do mean both.
They mean both. They mean very confused, mentally disturbed women who naturally, have periods that are going to, by the way, they get worse when you take testosterone. It doesn't make it any easier.
Right.
And then really, really confused men who think that because they bleed out of their rectum, it is somehow magically a period. That's what it is.
We totally didn't need that.
Well, we're about truth. Information fueled, even if that information is disgusting.
Hey, listen, folks, you watching on Super Talk TV, remember what the shine is on my head. It is the beacon of truth. Every morning on Nashville's Morning News.
It is blinding.
Even when we're talking about period underwear and
goodness. The left was out this past weekend saying that, and I think this all kind of rolls into each other's stories, that if people don't get to have paid time off for menstruation, that it is violence.
Was that the Pramila Jayapal gang of people?
They called it violent?
Yes, it's violence.
This conversation is actually making me want to be violent.
Yes.
All right, we got Commissioner Stuart McWhorter coming. We got to cut this short. Maybe we'll revisit this with Chris Hand at 8:35 and get his hot take of the day.
Please.
And find out if he believes in period underwear. 'Cause isn't he from Boston? I can't remember. Whatever.
Is that a Toronto?
So Stuart McWhorter is coming up next. The much maligned in some conservative circles, the Starbucks deal, $20 million, bringing them to Nashville. We're going to talk about it with the Commissioner for Economic Development for the state of Tennessee. That is coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And we do have some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms that could become severe today. Here's Channel 4's Melanie Layden.
Our western portion of Middle Tennessee under a level 2 out of 5 on that threat scale. Includes areas like Paris, Waverly, Decaturville, down to Lawrenceburg, Nashville, and areas east out into level 1 out of 5 on that threat scale.
Heavy rain, perhaps some pea-sized hail too, but she says tornadoes are not expected with these storms. They could begin arriving during the morning commute or just a tad after the morning commute begins. Carmelo Anthony's trial begins this week. You'll remember him as the Texas high school student who's charged with stabbing a football star from a rival school. You'll also remember that Austin Metcalf died in his twin brother's arms at a track meet in April of last year. He's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting at the time of the killing.
Witnesses say Anthony was sitting under Memorial's tent in the stadium stands and that when Metcalf told him he had to leave, Metcalf was stabbed to death. Anthony told police he was acting in self-defense, but Metcalf's father, Jeff, says
the truth will come out. There were too many people that saw what happened,
including Austin Metcalf's identical twin brother. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Carmelo Anthony's family hired a big-name Dallas lawyer, collected $600,000 from donations, and said that the money would go to stand with us in the fight against white supremacy. Jury selection gets underway today. 12 people arrested for street racing in South Nashville over the weekend. Metro Nashville police were called to Antioch Pike near Haystack Lane. Channel 4's Holly Thompson picks it up from there.
The officer spotted a Ford Mustang with people hanging out the windows while the car was moving. When police tried to stop the car, they said the driver took off. Later, officers found that same Mustang on Bell Road doing donuts as people were shooting fireworks out windows.
Yeah, one man, 26-year-old Michael Yorina, is being charged for driving that Mustang. In Lebanon, police have arrested 40-year-old Robert Moore for pulling out his handgun and firing shots over a road rage incident. Here's Danielle Ledbetter at Channel 4.
This happened on South Cumberland Street, right in between the Chick-fil-A and McDonald's there. Police say no one was hurt in that shooting.
Now, no word on what led up to the shooting, but police are saying that Moore fired 2 rounds. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures this morning jumping 248 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, gotta watch it on 40 eastbound in Pegram past McCrory Lane. They've been working on an accident scene there for quite a while now. It's on the right shoulder. 40 eastbound, the off-ramp to northbound I-65 west. You've got a crash. The left shoulder off-ramp is blocked off by it. And then one more in East Nashville on Ellington Parkway, the southbound lanes before Cleveland Street. A crash reported in that area as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and good morning to your friends. All right, so Joan, just real quick, the rain, are we still looking at about a 10 o'clock arrival time for the rain in Nashville?
Yeah, I see no changes at this point.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
So we are talking about heavy rain, hail, high winds, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll keep you updated. Your complete forecast is coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Stuart McWhorter is joining us here in studio, Stuart. And you, of course, lead the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development, also the deputy governor for Bill Lee. So the Starbucks deal, very much maligned in some conservative and Republican circles. So I want to talk about it because it is getting a lot of media, certainly online. Some are saying it's great, others saying not so much. Our time is limited, so I want to get right to it. And thanks for coming in. Let me throw down some highlights of the deal for folks that don't know. Starbucks is getting $20 million, right? $30 million, 2030.
Yeah.
20 or 30?
It's 30. It's a
$30 million.
Yep.
$30 million in taxpayer-funded economic development grants to bring their regional corporate offices to Nashville. That includes 2,000 jobs. So they're getting $30 million, basically, corporate incentives, if you will. Starbucks, your office says, is going to make a $100 million investment into the city. This is meant to really be a hub for their southeastern region, corporate offices and the like. They've already signed, and I think some people are missing this, they've already signed a full building lease, right, for 250,000 square feet of space at the Peabody Union Development in Nashville. They've also got temporary space in the Gulch. Now, the thing that I like about what Starbucks is doing is they're not just renting a building, right? This is like a campus.
Right.
250,000 square feet. They're in a building, but there's all kinds of other stuff around it. So describe the campus that Starbucks is investing in.
Sure. Well, let me first say this. As you described this, Dan, and I've heard others say the word give. We're not giving Starbucks $30 million. I mean, just need to say that right now. We're not giving them money. This whole notion of corporate welfare, we have a program called Fast Track in our department. We've had it for 16 years. It was started by Bill Haggerty, who was in my position. And with Fast Track, you have an accountability agreement. Accountability agreement is a document, a contract signed between the state of Tennessee and all the announcements that we make. I mean, whether it's Starbucks, whether it's Alliance Bernstein, Amazon, they signed these. And when they sign these, what they're saying is we're going to agree to hire the people, the amount of jobs that we announce. And for that, we're getting this grant that the state is issuing to us. If we don't perform on that job count, net new jobs, the state claws back some or all. It depends on how they perform. We track that over a number of years.
It's accountability. There's accountability with this. It's not just, and you're right, it's not just, hey, Starbucks, here's $30 million and do with it what you will.
Exactly. That's not it. And by the way, these jobs, 2,000 jobs, these are high-wage jobs, $125,000 annual salary on average. So when you add that up in payroll, that's $250 million of annual payroll just on those jobs.
So 2,000 jobs. Are these people, I'm just going to hit you with questions, okay? Are these people moving from Seattle, the hiring of Tennesseans, or maybe a combination of both?
So they, Starbucks, and they're no different than any other company that we work with that have locations, whether international or domestic. They have talent that has some, understanding of the company's processes, technologies. They have to bring those people to these new locations. They have that expertise. And so you're going to have some folks from Seattle come to Tennessee, move here from Seattle to Tennessee to help, be that source of information and insights for a company that's been around for a long time. That said, their goal is to hire Tennesseans. And I would say they haven't given us an exact number, but I would say 90+% of the 2,000 jobs is going to be right here locally. They're committed to hiring locally. That's what they want to do. They're not pulling 2,000 people out of Seattle and bringing them to Tennessee.
Well, I'm sure you saw the story. The people in Seattle actually, astonishingly enough, a lot of them don't want to move to Tennessee.
Well,
stay in the filth of Seattle. That's what I would say, not you. So that's great. I mean, I think that it does make sense.
Yep.
You understand the culture of Starbucks, so you're going to come, you're going to help set things up and get along with the process of hiring Tennesseans.
Right.
Starbucks is going to receive that $30 million economic development grant. What does a company specifically do with that kind of a grant? Because again, those are taxpayer dollars.
Right.
So where does that money specifically go?
Well, in our fast track program, as we described it and presented it to the funding board, 2 weeks ago, it is to help building retrofit, construction of their, you mentioned what they just signed a lease. There's going to be some tenant improvement expenses associated with all that, and they're allowed to use those dollars to help, build out their corporate office here.
Is there accountability for the $30 million? Like, in other words, if you're looking at a spreadsheet of that $30 million and you say, well, wait a minute, why did, some of this money go to whatever, some head honcho's bonus,
Yes,
right?
Right.
That would be an issue, I assume?
Oh, yeah. And so
each dollar is accountable to creating jobs and money for Tennessee.
The funds have to qualify to be spent on certain items, and that's very clear.
Okay.
Now, the way we claw back and keep them accountable to those dollars is based on those jobs they create, right? So they're saying 2,000 jobs. They have to create those 2,000 jobs over this period of time. But the use of those dollars are very specific in the agreement that we have. Yeah, they can't just take the money and give it to somebody as a bonus, or we operate our fast track program under code. And, we have very specific things we have to do. And when we make the decision from our department based on the budget we get every year. And as we go to the state funding board, which is made up our constitutional officers plus the commissioner of F&A, they have to approve that. So it has to go through these processes for our own accountability. And we get asked every single time, does the company recognize and realize there's an accountability agreement? They understand the clawback provisions. They ask me every time, and the answer is always yes, because we won't present anything that's under the fast track program.
Have you ever had to claw back?
Oh, we claw back. I mean, look, it is a tough discussion to have with a company because they don't sign these thinking they may or may not make it. I think they really and truly, plan to perform, but we do. And, sometimes it can be all of it, or most oftentimes it's just a portion of that. It's rare, but they understand what they're signing, and we go after the money. And one company a few years ago challenged us in court on it, challenged the state, and we won. And so we have good precedent, that our agreements are solid and we stand on those. And we're very clear on the front end. By the way, these accountability agreements and these grants that we offer to companies are companies that also have to show us before we even engage in issuing the grant. They have to show us a proof of funds. So they have to show us a balance sheet. If they're publicly traded, that's a little easier to get. But many of these companies are privately held, and we have to see the balance sheet and oftentimes the capital stack. Who owns stock? Because we're also looking for, by the way, companies that have Chinese ownership, and we don't offer incentives to those owners or shareholders.
So one of the big complaints that I've seen online and so forth is, Starbucks is a company worth billions of dollars. Why do they need this is my term, a piddly little $20 million if they're worth over $100 billion to move to Nashville? How important are these types of incentives? We're going to get to that in a minute. 7:15. Quickly, let's check the roads on WTN. Heavy storms on the way after 10, humid today, and look for downpours, hail, some damaging winds as well, and a high of 83. So, Stuart McWhorter, you tell me, I mean, why does Starbucks, a company worth billions of dollars, I don't even know how many billions they're worth, but why do they need our $20 million?
So $30 million.
$30 million. Why do I keep saying 20? I'm sorry, $30 million.
Well, look, we compete with other states for economic development projects, and every state has some version of what we do. I would tell you that I believe ours is the best because of how we track the return on investment, how we track the accountability agreements. That's the most important part of what we do. We do a lot of work on the front end, doing our due diligence, and it's really important that we do that. That said, we compete with many states in the U.S., mostly our bordering states, all compete.
South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. I mean, Texas, I know it's the South.
Correct.
And so,
and by the way, Starbucks was a very competitive project. If we had not offered any incentive, we would not. You know, I might be here talking to you this morning, but not about Starbucks. They wouldn't have come to Tennessee. You can go through the list of all the companies that we've been involved in for the last 16 years and ask the same question. It's a competitive business. It's a competitive process for us. At the end of the day, what we're competing for are jobs, capital investment. We're trying to provide opportunity for Tennesseans, and that ultimately, at the end of the day, is what our job is to do.
I know that the numbers look really good on paper, right? Starbucks receives the $30 million. The return on investment is huge. So what I've heard is the $30 million investment will bring back, is it $479 million?
So we calculate we have a research department within our department that looks at lots of modeling, and what they did for Starbucks is we have certainly the 2,000 jobs at $125,000 average wage. So call it $250 million a year in payroll. Then we can calculate, based on our own modeling, indirect and induced jobs. And that's around, in this case, around 3,500, maybe 3,600 additional jobs. This could be, contract opportunities, small businesses getting contracts to work with Starbucks. And we have, it's not perfect, but we have a formula that we can run to come up with what we believe is that full annual impact, that $400+ million, if you add Starbucks direct and then the indirect and induced jobs in Nashville, we believe it gets up to a pretty significant number annually.
So when you look at that, you look at the fact that they're going to be hiring more Tennesseans. You're going to get a few folks coming from Seattle, of course. But, part of it, I'm looking at the super text line now. People are concerned about the culture of Starbucks because they have a reputation, well-deserved, as being a liberal company. But I get a sense that they're trying to sort of change that reputation.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've heard some of that too. If we started, from our perspective, from our department, if we started getting into the politics of companies, we'd be going down a pretty slippery slope. At the end of the day, our job is to evaluate companies that are going to invest in our state, that are agreeing to hire Tennesseans and have a good wage job, and the ROI is there and the accountability is there. Now, that said, I believe, Starbucks has gone through some changes over the last few years. They got a new CEO. I think he came in toward the end of 24. Their stock has performed well and favorably, since his arrival. I believe that they recognize the East Coast as an opportunity for some of their stores for growth, based on what I've heard them say. I think part of this for them was just a strategic move to get into markets where they just didn't have much of an existence with their stores. I think that they chose Nashville because they see Nashville as a great way to come back into a marketplace as a business. They've been hit for, the last several years in terms of things that they've been doing. And, look, if the board recognized that and decided to make a move and bring a new CEO in to make a change, then, let's see if they can do that. At the end of the day, that's a personal opinion, but that's not how we evaluate projects that we do in our department. I mean, you could go through all the other companies that have come to Nashville and ask the same question. But guess what? They've all done well. They're doing well. Their commitment to our state and to our city, in this case, Nashville, still remains very strong. And we're excited, to have another great brand, global brand, come to Nashville.
And the other thing that I would say to support what you're saying is the people that don't want to come here are the liberals. They're the ones that are staying in Nashville, in Seattle. So they can stay in Seattle, and the ones that want to move here, or maybe move here for a year. And then if they want to go back to the state of Washington, they can go back to the state of Washington. One of the things that I find interesting is that, and this is, I think, a valid question. The argument is being made that small businesses should get that money already here in Nashville. We know about the property tax controversy as well. And so what would your answer to that be, where people say, well, we got small businesses here that could certainly use that $30 million?
Well, our fast track program isn't designed for small businesses for a lot of the reasons I mentioned. Many of them don't have the resources in the balance sheet to support the accountability agreement. And I've spent most of my private sector life in small businesses and entrepreneurship. So it's an area I care deeply about. The way I view this is the tool that we have with fast track and how we incentivize large companies. It rises all boats in an ecosystem, a business ecosystem where small businesses, I mentioned indirect and induced jobs that Starbucks will provide. Small businesses will have an opportunity to benefit from that in some form or fashion. Now, I agree that small businesses, particularly in Nashville, are taking a hit. That is large part, I believe, due to the fact that property taxes have I don't have to say it what it is. I mean, it has gone up quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I've got friends that are personally been hit hard with it and trying to make some tough decisions. That to me is a different conversation. We can't just, again, I go back to how we started the conversation. We can't give money to businesses. That there is corporate welfare. Giving money, and it's been said, there are people, even some people running for things, using that word, not understanding what our process is. We don't give money to businesses. We don't do that.
So what would the right term be? It's not give.
There in our fast track program, it's a grand incentive based on an accountability agreement.
Okay.
Now, if we boil it down to small businesses, the way we view small business and how we support it is how do you create an environment. And I've been in Nashville doing work here for 30 years.
Yeah. And
we've been saying for so long, for decades, we need to build a tech talent community. Well, how do you do that? Well, a Starbucks, for instance, is a great way to do it. We're going to bring high-wage jobs into our city. We want to hire Tennesseans. We want to hire Nashvillians. We want to hire kids that are coming out of high school, colleges, the 18 or so colleges that are in Middle Tennessee. The way you do it is you bring a large global brand like a Starbucks they're doing the most innovative in technology, AI, all of that. If I've got kids in high school and college, that's what I think about when companies like Starbucks come to town. And so that's when individuals benefit from a Starbucks type example or a announcement. Small businesses will benefit for a lot of those reasons. You're bringing that talent in that want to be here for those types of companies, but they may not work there long term. Or Alliance Bernstein or Amazon. I can go through Oracle, by the way.
Yeah.
And so, I look at it as a ecosystem. And so our department works with Launch Tennessee. We have some small business programming with the SBA that we provide some support on, but ultimately those aren't dollars like grant dollars going in. That could be it could be in the form of some equity investment. It could be in the form of some debt investment, and that's a partnership program that we do with Launch Tennessee here in Nashville. Very specific. I hope that there are more opportunities in the future where the state of Tennessee can be more involved. I'd love for the state of Tennessee to be able to invest in some of the venture capital companies that are in Tennessee, particularly in Nashville, to provide more of that local support. That really isn't being done right now. There's so many things I think we could do, but the answer is not with our department in Fast Track and providing grants to Starbucks and saying, well, we should just give it to quote unquote, give it to small businesses and do it, help support them. Understanding, yes, they do need support. What we really need to be talking about is how do you balance and manage a metro budget so they don't have to jack up the property taxes to balance their budget. And on the backs of businesses and individuals, that's the question that we need to be, answering right now.
One of the things, and every time these deals come along, right, you always anticipate the screams of corporate welfare, because it's always the same argument. I've been doing this for a long time, and every time you hear about corporate incentives, you hear about the corporate welfare and some of the other arguments. Do you anticipate having to answer these same questions regarding every single deal?
Well, it's interesting that Starbucks is getting a lot of attention right now. We've been, again, I go back to this particular program, Fast Track, and what we've been doing has been very successful the last 16 years. I've been in this role for 4 years. I'm sure other commissioners before me have been asked that question sometimes, but it's interesting how much attention this is getting. And the question that I ask is, take Starbucks out of it. Is every single deal we're going to be doing, going to get that kind of question? If it is, and discussion continues about undoing that, we might as well not compete anymore for projects. We'll become, we were talking about where you're from.
Yeah.
It'll change a community quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Having the resources to compete for projects is really important. And we've had great success under Bill Haslam, under Bill Lee. I believe, our next governor, she will do the same thing. She supports what we do. And I think it's really important that we have those resources available to compete. It's not corporate welfare. I'm happy to walk through, how that works and why it's not, to anybody that wants to know, because we're not giving the money away. We take what we do very seriously, and we've had a lot of great success. And the return, on the investment that we make for our Tennessee taxpayer dollars is it's there and the evidence.
$30 million, and that brings in $479 million in revenue. I know it's a complicated process. Not to call out organizations, but Americans for Prosperity had an issue.
Sure.
So if they wanted to, reach out to you and look at the books and have the conversation, that is all up for transparency's sake.
Yeah. No, look, Tori, Michael, and Pamela and all of them are great.
Sure.
We've got great relationships with them. I think, and we talked to Pamela after the funding board, happy to sit down with her or her team to walk through that. I think education and awareness is really important here. I would even argue some candidates that are out there running for stuff, they should spend some time learning about what we do too, and not just make blanket statements like that. I think there's a science to what we do. We take it very seriously. The governor has been a big supporter of this. He's got great relationships with both Speaker Sexton and Lieutenant Governor McNally, who support our program as well, and happy to have that discussion.
Thank you, as always, for stopping by. Stuart McWhorter, Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development, also Deputy Governor for Bill Lee. Thank you again for stopping by. 7:29. Boy, am I running late. Worth it, though. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Want to tell you very quickly about my friends at Stoltz Co., a great Tennessee company. They do continue to grow and expand. They build pole barns, and these pole barns can serve as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building, even barn dominiums. You can turn these into pole barns, into barn dominiums. You can live in them. They are new and improved, and right now they're offering you turnkey options. Now that means that Stoltz Co. is going to handle the design, the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key and you are home. So you got to check them out. Stoltz Co. 615-622-5992, 615-622-5992, stoltzco.com. Dan Mandis here, lifelong dog owner, and I've seen all kinds of behaviors with my animals, and I bet that you have too. If you've got a dog that needs some behavior training, my buddy Jeff and his crew at Ridgeside K9 Nashville, they can help you. I do call them the dog whisperers because they've helped thousands of dogs over the years with their behavior issues. Problems like aggression, potty problems, anxiety, basic obedience. They can help you help your precious pup with just about anything. Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they do believe that owner education is just as important as dog training. Long-term success begins with you. And Ridgeside Canine Nashville, they've got a lifetime support guarantee. They are there for you 24/7. Find them online, rsk9nash.com. The letter K, the number 9, rsk9nash.com. Ridgeside Canine Nashville, veteran-owned, proven results, and guaranteed for life.
Good morning. It's 7:33. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we have some storms today. They should begin arriving in the 10 o'clock hour. Channel 4 telling us there could be more than one round of storms, too. The threat of severe weather, though, is low. Our high today is 81 degrees. The sheriff's office in White House says there may be more victims of the White House high school band director, 32-year-old Dalton Hawkins, charged with having sexual relations with a 16-year-old student.
You kind of expect it nowadays, but it's also like unexpected. Like it happens in your own town.
Hawkins was charged with statutory rape by an authority figure and booked on a $600,000 bond after admitting to the inappropriate contact. Hawkins told investigators he knew the student was a minor and had been talking to her in person and texting her for the past few weeks.
These like vulnerable children, just don't really know much, and he's just kind of taking advantage of that. That's pretty sickening.
And that's Channel 4's Braden Ross reporting. The sheriff's office says Hawkins worked at other schools as well, and they want to hear from anyone who has knowledge of any other incidents. A Tipton County nurse is in jail after the TBI tracked him down as the owner of 115,000 images and videos of child pornography. 33-year-old Cameron Sanders arrested at his home this weekend. His neighbors spoke to Channel 4.
I am not pleased one bit that he is a couple houses down from here. It's just a complete betrayal of trust, and We don't need stuff like that around in this neighborhood or this county.
During the search of his home, police also turned up drugs and guns. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
What an amazing event. At the Glock store Saturday, they had around 1,500 people walk through the door at their open house. That's really a testament to how incredible this two-way store really is. Now, I got to talk to a lot of customers, and the thing that I noticed is all the different stories. There were some two-way lifers, been shooting guns since an early age. Others were like me, longtime supporters of the Second Amendment, but hadn't gone through formal training, hadn't even owned a gun. Well, these days, my training with the Glock store has been ongoing. I've bought all of my guns there, and I've had them customized as well, all at the Glock store. I also buy gift certificates for friends and family at the Glock store. This is a great two-way destination. And by the way, speaking of gifts and gift certificates, Father's Day is coming up. So if you need something for the two-way loving father in your life, check out the Glock store online or in person, glockstore.com and shoot270.com. Minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Okay, so we have an accident on I-440 westbound in Berry Hill. This is on right at I-65. Watch for that accident. Another one in Antioch on Old Hickory Boulevard, north of Firestone Parkway, and East Nashville, Ellington Parkway, southbound lanes before Cleveland Street. Watch out for an accident there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open at 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. And Sam, as we speak, I don't know if you folks can hear the sizzling coming through the radio, but the mind of Joan Jones is melting down because she's having to watch Dr. Jill Biden on the Today Show. And so she's pulling audio. I said to Joan, so this is why Joan secretly hates working with me. I said, well, Joan, you're complaining about it. You've got to pull some audio of Jill Biden. I'm sorry, Dr. Jill Biden. And you've got to pull some audio. And now like her brain is like sizzling. You know what? Pull some sizzling sound effects there, Sam. And we can say, this is your brain listening to Dr. Jill Biden. You know how it used to be like, this is your brain on drugs? There you go. Turn it up a little bit more. This is Joan's brain having to listen to Joe Biden. I'm sorry, Dr.
I need
Joe
hazard
Biden.
pay. That's all I'm saying.
I so wish, and we can't do it, Joan, I so wish that I could repeat what you said to me on FaceTime when...
You will not.
Oh, you were just... Joan went like full, like New Jersey
ballistic.
I mean, yeah, it was actually, it was a lot of fun, actually. So anyway, Joan is pulling some audio from Dr. Joe Biden on the Today Show, and we'll have some highlights or lowlights of that coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN 615-737-9986. That is, of course, the Super Text line. And let's see here. Where are we with Iran? So it just seemed, just very quickly, on Friday, it was both sides are going back and forth. And, Iran had given us, their ideas of what they needed to open up the Strait of Hormuz. And it was like the whole deal was done, right? The whole deal was done. Well, clearly it is not, because here we are on Monday morning and the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And basically, just to give you a few headlines here to make sure that we're all up to speed, Donald Trump has said to Iran, well, we need to change some of the wording. And so he has, sent the document back to Iran. And they don't seem real happy. I'm just going to tell you that Iran doesn't seem real happy. They are saying that this war will not end and the Strait of Hormuz will not be opened back up until they are able to have their rights restored. That is what Iran is saying. And so we'll get into what they mean about their rights being restored. But this is Donald Trump, an interview last night on Fox News with Laura Trump.
The Strait immediately upon signing. The one guarantee that I have to have is that there will be no nuclear weapons. They've agreed to that. And it was very interesting. They originally said, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, well, what happens if you buy a nuclear weapon? So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase a military weapon. That's a big difference.
All right, so that is President Trump. And it is obviously a big difference, manufacturing and buying a nuclear weapon. All of this hinges on transparency. We all know that Iran lies about their intentions. I do have concerns when Donald Trump and others in the media, Trump supporters, and I'm a Trump supporter, but I've also got to shoot straight with you folks. So when Donald Trump says, and when some in the media have said, well, Iran has never said that they don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, they've always said that they're not manufacturing nuclear weapons. Now, they've been lying, but they have said it. So it doesn't matter what Iran says, it's what they do. That is where the transparency comes in. They've always insisted they're not trying to manufacture nuclear weapons as they enrich uranium to 60% and higher. Again, you only need uranium enriched to something like 3.5% to power a city. So Donald Trump, this man is not naive. Certainly this man is not dumb. He knows exactly what he's doing.
So we're getting what we want slowly. Very tough negotiators. It takes a long time. I'm in no hurry. I'd like to say I'm in a hurry because, gasoline prices are going to come tumbling down. But if you're going to be in a hurry, you're not going to make a good deal. And slowly but surely, we're getting, I think, what we want. And if we don't get what we want, we're going to end it a different way.
So that is obviously a threat to Iran. And I'm all for it, ending it in a different way. There are a lot of people, including yours truly, that is like, can we just get going with this? We're not shying away from military action. Again, we bombed Iran over the weekend on both, I believe, Saturday and Sunday because Iran was acting hostile. So clearly, President Trump wants to end this with diplomacy. However, we'll have to wait and see ultimately what happens. Iran has also been firing rockets at Kuwait, rockets and drones at Kuwait as well. And Kuwait's been knocking them down. So they keep doing bad stuff. And we keep having to deal with Iran's bad stuff. Now, late last night, Donald Trump, early this morning, Trump posted on True Social. He said that he wants political hacks to stop trying to undermine his negotiating position with what he calls as constant chirping. Here's what he says. Iran really wants to make a deal, and it'll be a good one for the USA and those that are with us, the president wrote. taking aim at what he called Democrats and seemingly unpatriotic Republicans, accusing political opponents of making it harder for him to navigate one of the most dangerous foreign policy issues of his presidency. Here is his quote. "But don't the Democrats and various seemingly unpatriotic Americans understand that this is much tougher for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political hacks keep negatively chirping at levels never seen before, over and over, that I should move faster, I should move slower, or go to war, or not go to war, or whatever," the president writing. He says, look, just sit back and relax. It's all going to work out well in the end. It always does. Got some more Iran-related headlines coming up next on Super Talk 99.7. It is 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, as far as your weather goes, we are expecting some heavy rain about 10 o'clock and beyond. At times of sun and clouds today, we do have those heavy thunderstorms coming. That's going to happen around 10 o'clock and later. We're talking about flooding and downpours and hail and damaging winds and a high of 83. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7. Back to Iran. Overnight, word came out that Iran said that there was no deal until their rights are restored. Now, I'm air quoting that, their rights are restored. So what rights are those? So Friday, we talked about everybody's red line, everybody's line in the sand. Iran wants to keep their enriched uranium, and we're like, no way. Both of us, those are our lines in the sand. So what are those rights? Well, they want lifted sanctions. We say, no way. They want billions of dollars in frozen assets. They want to control the Strait of Hormuz and charge tolls. They want, of course, to be allowed to export their oil. So those are, again, quote, the rights that they want restored. But here's the thing. They've been lying for years about their uranium enrichment. So, and a lot of the rights that they want restored are some of the things that we've said no flipping way. So I'm just telling you, folks, this thing is I believe this thing is a long way from getting solved. As a matter of fact, I mean, that's why we were all talking on Friday about how, well, is this really going to wrap up soon? No. One of the things that we've seen is Iran attacking their Middle Eastern neighbors. We know all about that, including, of course, you've got Saudi Arabia, you've got Kuwait, you've got Qatar, etc. We attack Iran. They attack our allies. That is how it works. This is really interesting. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and because remember what I've been saying. What I've been saying for a long time is, you obviously can't trust Iran, but you also cannot trust the other Middle Eastern countries as well. Listen very closely to what Scott Bessent said. This was over the weekend on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo.
The economic side in terms of what we've done, and a big mistake that the Iranians made was attacking their GCC neighbors, their neighbors in the Gulf, because we had many very good allies who maybe weren't completely transparent with us on the money, Iranian money that was in their banking systems, all of a sudden became very compliant in terms of being willing to turn over accounts or help us freeze, block accounts.
So what you just heard the Treasury Secretary say is that Iran was hiding money through accounts with their Middle Eastern neighbors. But those Middle Eastern neighbors are also our supposed allies. I'm not surprised, of course, because I'm always talking about you can't trust these Middle Eastern countries. You just can't. Because if Iran, again, was hiding money in these accounts with some of their neighbors, that means that our allies were helping Iran skirt sanctions. And if that doesn't worry you, well, it probably should. They also spoke about the big successes, shutting down the Iranian ports. This is Scott Bessent on Fox News.
And then the third part was the incredible blockade. I really think it's the economic blockade of funds and the physical blockade of the ships not going in or out of the Iranian ports. Karga Island is shut down. That's their big oil loading facilities, and that means that they're going to have to start taking down the wells.
I mean, that is true. We have seriously impacted Iran's economy, which is a good thing. We've seriously impacted their ports and their ability to export oil. We've seriously taken out so much of their government. Sadly, though, here we are on June 1st. We got no agreement. I don't believe we're close to an agreement. Iran is talking trash. Now, Donald Trump says, you know what, don't worry about it. The president saying restraint is the right way to go. Back to Donald Trump.
Their Navy is totally gone, 100%. Their Air Force is totally gone, 100%. Their military, we've sort of left it alone because we think that their military is somewhat moderate. They have other people that aren't moderate. We've taken them out. We've taken different forms of leadership out. We've actually left their military alone. People would be surprised to hear that, because mistakes have been made in wars where you wipe out everybody and then you have a country that's, for 40 years can never rebuild.
Yep, so that is President Trump. Just to put a clarification on that, when Donald Trump talks about how Iran's military is moderate, he's talking about the military for the nation of Iran versus the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. They're the ones that are tasked with defending the mullahs in Iran. So then if, again, they have the regular military. So Trump is talking about the regular military that he is saying is moderate. So just to recap quickly, some of the major headlines and what is happening this morning with Iran. President Trump has changed the text of our response back to Iran. Remember, again, we had the media saying everything had been negotiated and all we were waiting for was Donald Trump's signature. Not going to happen. He's changed the wording. We are waiting for their response, and Iran's response was basically, if we don't get our rights restored, then they're not going to be signing anything. We bombed some of their drone facilities over the weekend. And again, I've shared with you, by and large, the president's Truth Social from last night. And Joan and I don't have it in my notes. Joan, the president of Iran has resigned because he essentially realized that he had absolutely no influence whatsoever. Now, we're not talking about I'm going to air quote this, the president that is now one-legged and we know is gay and doesn't really have much of a face anymore because he got it blown off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stumpy.
But,
so this is the other guy.
The letter that was written by, his name is Masoud Pezeshkian, I think. He wrote the resignation letter, sent it over to Stumpy. Stumpy hasn't said yet whether he'll accept that resignation. So that's...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know how much power he would have to make him stay there. We don't even know that Stumpy's alive. So
that's the thing. We have no idea if Stumpy's alive.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him. There's been no video,
right,
as far as I know. Sam, have you seen any video of Stumpy?
No.
All right, no Stumpy video.
I like it when you love my stump.
It is 7:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan has the news coming up at 8 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, there were dozens arrested in New Jersey at that ICE facility finally last night, but the rioting there continues. We've got the story at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Alrighty, 7:54 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Loved my time out on my back patio this weekend, hanging out, watching the rain, and enjoying the weather. And I do have a covered patio, so I can tell you from personal experience how great having a covered patio is. It means that you can spend a lot more time outside. Now, if you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. They've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. They've got a ton of outdoor living options at the covered patio with motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures as well. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget. Now, the covered patio, they are dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. So enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from The Covered Patio. Reach out to The Covered Patio. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-695-2407, 615-695-2407, online, thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com. $7:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line very active this morning, thank you. 615-737-9986. That is Joan's brain having to listen to Dr. Jill Biden on the Today Show. But Joan, you have picked up some selected cuts from Dr. Jill on the Today Show.
Okay, so, I'll give you the one that really ticked me off. And that's this one. She was asked by, what's his name, Melvin? I don't know.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. He said, even George Clooney said, there's something really wrong here. What do you say to that?
Well, the doctors did assure us. I mean, he had an exam every year, a health exam like every president does. The doctors assured us he was healthy. And I saw him doing the job every single day. Every single day. He got up, he went into the office, he did the job, he passed bipartisan legislation. You know, he worked, and I saw him work.
That ends with, I saw him work into the night. Every day. They were calling a lid at 11 o'clock in the morning. What is she talking about?
They would call that lid.
If they even started a lid.
Didn't they say that he would like wander around the White House late at night?
Yeah.
If I remember right, there is a story about that. Whatever. I mean, here we know that she's lying.
Yes.
That's the thing. We know that she's lying. And if I were the Today Show or whatever, I would come in hard.
They
on
did.
her.
I was surprised. It's Craig Melvin. I was surprised that he did take the tack he took. He did ask her some hard questions and put her on, put her on the hot seat.
Did you have that audio?
I don't have him asking questions. I have her answers.
Well, I would love to hear it.
Okay. You want to hear more?
Well, not right now,
Okay.
but yeah, here in a little bit.
We
All right.
have more.
All right, 801 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And finally, a curfew and state troopers arriving on the scene at the New Jersey ICE facility that has seen 3 weeks of rioting outside.
The outskirts of the detention center has seen several protests, and last night marked the first night of a curfew that went into effect from 9 p.m. till 6 this morning for a half mile. Demonstrators rallied near the barricaded area outside Delaney Hall during the day. By dusk, protesters clashed with law enforcement for yet another night. Police were in riot gear, the mountain unit on scene to enforce the curfew, ending with a few dozen arrests.
Yeah, at least 20 arrests there last night. That's ABC's Phil Tate reporting. A wrong-way crash on Briley Parkway this weekend ended with one man being killed and a teenager being charged with DUI and vehicular homicide.
Metro police say the 17-year-old was driving west in the eastbound lanes near Clarksville Pike. He smashed head-on into another driver, 66-year-old Alan Rincon of Clarksville. He died at the hospital.
Channel 4's Danielle Ledbetter there. The teen driver suffered minor injuries. The eastbound lanes of I-40 in downtown Nashville, they were shut down Sunday afternoon for several hours because of an oversized truck that got stuck under the Broadway Bridge. This happened around 4:15 yesterday afternoon. T-Dot crews helped that truck to back up. Also another one that was right behind it, and redirected both of them to I-65 to get around downtown Nashville. T-Dot says that it doesn't appear there's any structural damage to that bridge. And new concerns for Dems trying to change the balance of power in Washington.
His race is considered critical if Democrats hope to take control of the Senate this fall. But a new controversy is rocking the campaign of Graham Plattner, who is fighting to unseat Republican Susan Collins in Maine. A former campaign advisor reportedly told the New York Times and Wall Street Journal that Plattner's wife, Amy Gertner, gave his campaign a heads up that her husband had exchanged sexually explicit messages in the past with as many as a dozen women. ABC News has not independently verified the claims.
That's ABC's Hannah Battah reporting. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Things are looking up on the futures market. Dow futures are plus 165. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So in Bellevue, an accident, 40 eastbound past Old Hickory Boulevard West. That's exit 199. It takes out two left lanes. East Nashville, Ellington Parkway, southbound lanes before Cleveland Street. That is the scene of an accident as well. And for drivers who plan to go into Kentucky, just be advised that I-65 in Louisville is closed down. Now, this is from Waterson Expressway all the way into downtown Louisville, and it is closed down for the next 2 months while they repair and replace 3 bridges. So you'll be taking some detours in that area if you do plan to travel into Kentucky in the next 2 months. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737 WWTN. You know, I think the reason why the Jill Biden story is so important is because this is killing the Democrats. This is crushing the Democrats. I want you to think of a couple of things. Number one, in Los Angeles, you've got Spencer Pratt. There was some, will you look this up for me, Sam? Look up the polling in Los Angeles. I saw over the weekend on Twitter that Spencer Pratt, his I guess, caught fire in some of the polling. We don't really know what's going to happen in LA with the mayor's race. But he truly is exposing Democrat incompetence in Los Angeles. So you've got that. You heard Joan talking about the guy in Maine and where he was sexting possibly up to a dozen women. Now, this is the guy, remind me his name, Joan, the guy in Maine, the Senate candidate. Graham Plattner. Graham Plattner, his wife comes out and says, oh, yeah, he was sexting a dozen women while we were married. And apparently it was while they were doing in vitro, right?
Oh, my goodness.
So, and then the campaign comes back and says, oh, no, it was only 6,
Oh,
right?
in that case, it's okay.
So much better than 12. Yeah. So there's that. And of course, we've been documenting all of the train wreckery that is Graham Plattner. So there's story after story of these Democrats that
Don't forget about Tallarico.
He's in the news, of course. I mean, almost every single day where
they've released his girlfriend's identity finally.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
I will get to Dr. Joe Biden in a second. Who is his girlfriend?
So guess where they met?
Where?
At a gay bar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's her.
Are we certain on this? Like
relatively. It's
relatively. Thanks, Sam, for that vote of confidence.
But Brianna Menard, a 30-year-old political lobbyist, the couple has been dating for 4 years. They first met when Menard served as chief of staff for Tallarico's Texas House legislative office. Tallarico initially kept her identity private to protect her from campaign scrutiny. But yeah, she apparently likes to go to this gay bar in Austin where she feels safe. And that's apparently where they met.
Okay. Anyway, whatever. So people will look at that and decide for themselves if she's actually a girlfriend of Tallarico, whatever.
A beard.
What's that, Joan?
She's a beard.
Joan's official opinion is that whatever her name is a beard for Tallarico.
I'm with Joan on that.
Okay. Well, my question would be, why was he in a gay bar? Like, I understand.
He's an ally, Dan.
No. Hold on. I understand. Let's just go through this, right? We're all adults here. Well, some of us, Sam. So, totally kidding. So, we understand that she felt safe in a gay bar in Austin. Why was he there? Does he feel safe in a gay bar?
Probably. Or free drinks.
I'm just asking a question. I don't know. I mean, I know that some people, I guess they like to. I've never been in a gay bar, so I don't know why people would want to go to a gay bar, but whatever. I mean, if you're straight, if you're gay, knock yourself out.
If you're a straight woman, the presumption is, well, no one's there to be predatory.
See, no, I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, but I'm with you on the, James, why were you in there?
Right. That's exactly right.
Especially considering, like, you know, a lot of great bars in Austin, they're going to serve great barbecue, but apparently you don't eat meat. So what else are you doing there?
Well, do they serve barbecue in a gay bar?
Don't they serve barbecue everywhere in Austin, Texas?
Much.
I don't know. Anyway, all right, very good. All right, so Tallarico, we now know his girlfriend, air quotes. Joan, let's hear some Jill Biden audio. So, the point is that the Democrats have a lot of problems right now. They got Tallarico, they've got Graham Plattner, they've got Karen Bass, who, I mean, her campaign is just, I mean, it is dying on the vine.
Politico's even saying it is.
What did Politico say?
It was from a few days ago. It was about the polling, and basically that her campaign is sending a message that should not resonate confidently with LA area Democrats.
Well, you know what's happening, and I bet you dollars to donuts that Chris Hand has some of this audio today. I didn't pull it, but I wasn't planning on talking about LA today. But Spencer Pratt is going down into places like Compton, where, you know, you got a lot of black moms down there, and he's going down there. And those moms are saying they've never seen Karen Bass in their neighborhood. They've never seen Karen Bass go down to, you know, Compton or Watts or the inner city where the real stuff is going down in Los Angeles. They go to, Karen Bass goes to all the hoity-toity places in Los Angeles, of which there are many. Has Karen Bass ever gone down to the places that are really impacted by crime, really impacted by needles on the ground, parks taken over by, you know, all of the homeless people and all of that going on?
MacArthur Park.
MacArthur Park is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Is MacArthur Park in Los Angeles? I think it is. I don't know. Somebody will fact check me on that. But anyway, did you get the polling from Spencer Pratt? I believe that
trying
he's
to make it as obfuscated as possible. Politico's actual headline on the article was LA mayoral poll shows Bass vulnerable in close race with Rahman and Pratt.
I think that it is going to be way too close for comfort. I don't know if Spencer Pratt's going to win. Again, I think that the Democrats they've got an apparatus in place, and so they will probably start doing whatever trickery the Democrats know to do to ensure that Pratt doesn't win.
Well, the Politico poll says 26% of voters would support Bass, 25% backing Councilmember Rahman, and 22% behind Pratt. That's from Politico's poll.
And Politico's left.
Oh, very.
Politico's very left-leaning. So, okay.
Because they followed up with, 26% of voters that would include those who have already voted, plan to cast ballots, or are undecided indicate they support Bass, with 25% backing progressive city councilmember Rahman, and then they introduced Pratt this way in the article, and 22% behind Pratt, a reality TV personality and registered Republican.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You see what they're trying to do,
yeah,
right? Because on Friday we played the audio where he's like, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm not MAGA, I'm here to support the moms. Because this is supposed to be a non-political party position where you're just supposed to be the mayor. I guess you're not supposed to be, left or right, Republican or Democrat, whatever. So I think he's doing well. I don't know how anybody in their right mind would vote for Karen Bass. I could see voting for Nathia, I think her name is, Nathia Rahman.
Yeah.
So she's a council member. I can see if you're Democrat and you don't like Spencer Pratt that you might vote for Nathia Rahman. But Karen Bass? She's horrible.
I sent you some stuff over the weekend. There are some animal advocacy groups out in LA that are throwing their vote behind Spencer Pratt just to get homeless people to stop testing their drugs on dogs. It's how bad it is. It's around every corner.
Isn't there like dead dogs everywhere because the homeless people get these dogs and they want to make sure their drugs are safe. And so they're pumping their drugs into dogs before they put them into themselves.
I watched a video this weekend of this couple saw a guy slumped over. You know, he's obviously out of it. And he's got his dog attached to him. So a lady, now I can't say, like, I can't vouch for the mental stability of anybody in this video. A lady goes over and takes the dog away from him and starts walking away. And a couple comes over and they yell at her, "You give him his dog back. That's all he has.
Oh.
He just has his dog." And they take it away from her. They yell at her, tell her they're going to, report her to the police. And she's saying, "Look, that dog's going to die. I'm going to give it life."
Yeah. They're now handing out doggy Narcan. I'm not even making that up.
Doggy Narcan.
Yes. At these animal shelters and everything in the southern area of Los Angeles, they're getting dogs dropped off on a every other day basis.
Yeah.
They're not straight to the hospitals. These people are dropping them off at these shelters so they know that they'll get taken care of and no one's going to get hit with a bill. But for that to cause such a shift in people to advocate for one mayoral candidate over another, it must be very prominent.
There's people that don't care about other people. A lot of people care about dogs. And so, all right. It is 8:15, 8:16 actually. Time to check the roads on WTN.
I have more Jill Biden if you want it.
Was arrested for Cleveland Street.
8:16 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We've got some storms coming in after 10 o'clock this morning. Humid, and we've also got some flooding, some downpours, hail, and damaging winds. High of 83. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7. All right, so before we get to the Jill Biden audio, Sam says that another one of Karen Bass's administration people has been arrested. Because remember, her deputy assistant or whatever it was for Karen Bass was arrested for calling in a bomb threat. Deputy mayor?
Yeah, the deputy mayor.
Deputy mayor was arrested
Brian Williams.
Yeah, for calling in a bomb threat. This is somebody who works for the mayor. Now another one?
Yeah, May 2026, federal agents arrested Michael Angel Alvarez, who worked as a city-funded peace ambassador for an anti-violence nonprofit contracted by the mayor's office to do outreach in MacArthur Park. The charge is Alvarez, a convicted murderer, was arrested for illegal possession of military-grade body armor by a violent felon. Federal prosecutors allege that despite his city-funded role to stop street violence, he remained an active member of the 18th Street Gang.
Wow. Didn't we talk, Joan, about another one? Who was it? We talked about somebody who was involved in the needle program that was actually selling fentanyl.
Yes.
Yeah, was that?
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
This is what I'm saying. This is a couple weeks ago, but yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Well, he was just arrested for that, but apparently the organization let him go a year ago. So for a whole year, he was out with no one stopping him from using his credentials to sell addicts drugs.
This is perfectly okay.
All right. So now that brings us to Dr. Jill Biden, right? Where you've got, she's now making the rounds. You know what the funny thing is, Joan? Is that the Democrats desperately want to put Joe Biden and that entire saga behind them. Okay, fine. Let's focus then on Graham Plattner. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, everywhere you turn.
Yeah. So here's a new audio cut. Ready?
Yes.
This is Kevin Melvin, actually, and I caught him on this one, asking the question that kind of we all have about this.
It's such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
In the days and weeks after that, you continued to insist that the president was fine. How do you square thinking that he may have had a stroke with what you were saying in the days and weeks after? How do you square those?
Well, look, Craig, look at it from my point of view. So I'm watching, just like everybody else was, scared to death, like what is going on? He gets off the stage. I see he appears to be okay. He says to me, Jill, I really, in other words, messed up, didn't I? And I said, yes, you did. And so we get off, and I know we're going into another event, or we have two more to do. And my mind is racing. What do I say to him? What do I say to him? I'm his wife. I've got to lift him up.
So we go to the next event, and I'm thinking, what do I say that will lift him up? That is true. I want to say the things that are true. And so I said, you answered every question. My mind's racing.
That's a pretty low bar.
And so, I had to sort of lift him up.
She just completely ignored that, didn't she?
Completely blew it
That's
off.
a
Just
pretty
tried to
low
blow right
bar.
through it.
Yeah.
I had
Man.
to. She keeps saying I had to lift him up, and all I can keep thinking is, you remember all those times he would come out on stage with super high energy, and then it would wean off.
Mm-hmm.
People started accusing his handlers of shooting him up with amphetamines or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a big topic of conversation. So I don't know if
she
you're
won't stop talking. She won't stop making this argument because she wants to sell her books. And so it's all about Jill and not about the party anymore.
Well, the Hunter Biden meal ticket has run its course. No more sacks of
Clearly.
cash. No more paintings worth nothing.
But how much money do they need? How much is the Biden family worth? I mean, it's got to be millions. I
At
read
least.
somewhere it was $10 to $12 million. Of course, you never really know because I think they probably evade taxes and they've got a bunch of money stored somewhere.
And
So
it's all in the Corvette in the garage.
Is that where it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the couple's wealth is tied up in long-term real estate, and their two properties in Delaware are valued at roughly $7 million combined. So just their two properties in Delaware combined for $7 million.
Well, I think that there's probably kind of like Kamala Harris's book. Probably not a lot of people going to buy this book. Jill Biden's
She actually, Craig Melvin was introducing her, and she said, "And you said you read my book, so thank you very much for buying it." It's so,
oh my goodness
it's so
gracious!
cheesy. Why say stuff like that?
I think she's kind of cringe anyway. You know what I mean? Like Jill
Yeah.
Biden is very cringe. So there is that. But if you're a Democrat, where can you go to rest your eyes? I mean, you can't go to Tallarico. His numbers are plummeting every single day. So you can't go to Tallarico. You can't go to Joe Biden, Jill Biden. You can't go to Graham Plattner. There's just, where do you go? Can you go to Mandami? Can you go to the mayor of New York?
Nope. Skipped out on the only mayor to skip out on the parade of
I know.
Israel
For the
in
Jewish,
New York.
yeah, for the
But
Jewish folks.
Here's the thing. As I get people going, why do we got to have a parade for Israel in New York? Every single culture in the city of New York has some kind of festival or street parade.
Yep.
And the mayor goes to all of them. And he got up and platformed and said, well, I told you my opinions on the Israeli government before I was elected. It's like, no, dude, you were elected to be the mayor of everyone in this city.
Yep.
And you should, if you have any decorum about you, support everyone in this city, as you so claim to do.
2823, I don't think Jill Biden is lying. I think she's delusional. I think she really believes what she's saying. The majority of hardcore leftists are delusional. Oh, one more real quick. Just talking about Democrat debris across the nation. What's the name of the governor in New York? Not in New York, New Jersey. Mickey something or another. So the governor of New York, of New Jersey, the governor of New Jersey is now basically trying to say all of these out-of-town progressives and these folks that are causing all of the violence at the detention center, well, they all have to now leave, right? So she is trying to make it seem like she is all about law and order, when clearly she's not. This has been going on for how long has this been going on now at the Delaney Detention Center? It's been a couple weeks. And so the governor and the mayor of Newark, I think it's in Newark, they've been out there with these protesters as all of this violence has been happening, and they've been sort of advocating for the violence. And so then the crap really gets bad, and now the governor for the state of New Jersey is saying, oh, these out-of-town progressive leftists, they have to go home now. Well, where was that kind of attitude 2 weeks ago? We all knew, and we all know how the Democrats operate. George Soros and these other, shadowy organizations, they pay money to have these violent leftists go into these various cities to make this big violent spectacle, to make it look like the Republicans are the ones that are causing this spectacle, when the reality is it is George Soros, it is the leftists, and the governor knows darn right well that that is what the Democrats do. But now when it's getting really, really bad, she's saying, oh, now y'all got to go home. Where was she 2 weeks ago when all of this stuff was really going crazy and they were attacking law enforcement? All of a sudden, 2 weeks after the fact, she's decided, okay, I guess we've had enough.
Well, it was after Hakeem Jeffries got the opportunity to make a social media post, right, outside the facility, called for it to be closed down because no one's eating and everyone's killing themselves and there's no health care inside.
Right.
Not before, let him do that. And then once it escalates real bad, oh, no, we're law and order in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think they're beginning to realize that it is a spectacle. And even the senator for New Jersey, Kim?
Yeah, the one that got pepper sprayed.
Yeah, the one that got pepper. Same thing. It's like nobody has any comment about the violence against law enforcement officers. And they apparently really all they care about is the child molesters and the murderers and the rapists and the lawbreakers that are inside the prison. They don't care about the law enforcement officers that are getting attacked. And until finally they believe that they've done whatever damage they're going to do. And then the governor comes out to try to be the hero in the situation and tells everybody, okay, you out-of-town criminals, it's time to go home because the majority of the people that they arrested were not from New Jersey. Big flippin' shock, right? Everybody knew that they weren't from New Jersey. Anyway, it is... where are we at? 8:27. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Coming up here, we'll tell you what's happening with Iran and the Trump administration this morning. Things are changing a bit. We've got the story at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Credit card interest rates are now over 29%, and most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Stan Mandis here, yes. And here's what a lot of these homeowners simply don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards with existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. Now, one client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 every single month. You gotta love Loan Pronto. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone with zero out of pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn out bank process, and no touching that first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows right now, so you've got to act right now. Go to loanpronto.com and see how much money you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. That's loanpronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, and MLSconsumeraccess.org. Hey friends, just a quick note that DT McCall's extended Memorial Day savings event is wrapping up on Wednesday, June 3rd. So you only have a couple more days to get those great savings and rebates on all the best brands. And they don't stop at the refrigerator. No, they've got great deals on wall ovens and microwaves and dishwashers as well. You know that DT McCall's, they are always looking for great ways to save you money. These folks, of course, great Tennesseans, AJ and the rest of the family, they have as many of their items made right here in the state of Tennessee as possible, doing everything they can to promote not only our local economy, but your economy as well. They do recognize the greatness of the volunteer state. And again, they want to give you every opportunity to shop local and to save money. Find them online, dtmccalls.com, 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. And again, always online, dtmccalls.com. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and I'm watching the radar here, and things are arriving a little earlier than we were expecting. Now, these storms are coming down from the northwest, and they're headed into the Nashville area. Right now, they're hitting around the Ashland City area, also in Charlotte and in the city of Tennessee City. Waverly is also in the way of the storm as well. Now, we should be expecting it to arrive in the Nashville area. Let's see, about 9 o'clock, maybe 9:15 is when we'll see the thunder and lightning around here again. We're not calling, or the WSMV4 is not calling for any tornadoes to be churned out of the storm. In the news this morning, U.S. Central Command saying that Iran fired 2 ballistic missiles overnight, targeting American forces stationed in Kuwait. Those ballistic missiles were successfully intercepted. The attacks follow self-defense strikes on Iranian radar and command and control sites for drones by the U.S. There's difficult news to share about longtime Grand Ole Opry announcer and radio host Bill Cody. The Country Radio Hall of Famer is in critical condition this morning after suffering from organ failure for the past few weeks, and then taking a turn for the worse over the weekend. Here's News 2's Megan Fee.
Last night, his heart took a downward turn. His daughter said he was placed on ECMO yesterday, saying, quote, "We need a miracle and we know God is able. Please, if you're able, stop and pray for these things. Our family can't thank you enough."
His family saying he needs a heart and kidney transplant to be able to survive. Got a heads up for drivers heading into Kentucky. Interstate 65 closed down starting today for the next 2 months in a stretch from Kentucky 264 and in through downtown Louisville. Now, this is construction that will begin here to replace 3 bridges. Television station WLKY asked Kentucky Transportation spokespeople why they decided to do all 3 bridges at once and close the highway instead of working on it while it's still open.
Yeah, if we tried to maintain traffic and do construction at the same time, it would take probably an additional year on top of what we're looking at for this. So this is why we want to get it shut down. It's for the safety of the workers as well, but also the best construction.
And detours are posted there. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And just crossing the wires, Iran has stopped negotiations with the U.S. and is vowing to completely block the Strait of Hormuz once again. And so that means that as the stocks began trading this morning on Wall Street, everything went down. The Dow Jones Industrials right now trading 130 points lower. The NASDAQ is up by just a fraction. S&P 500 index is -2. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
So I just heard from my buddy Keith over at Contours. He's getting married. That's right. Met Catherine the other day, his better half. Awesome folks. Their big day is in April of next year, and 6 weeks out, they've already got it marked on the calendar. They'll be using Keith's ultra slim equipment at Contours to look their best for their big day. And friends, if you've got a big day coming up, you can do the same thing as well. At Contours, they're experts in red light technology. Now, you know that that's all the rage these days, and that'll help you lose inches off your abdomen and chest. It is safe, effective, non-invasive, and cost-effective. No pain, no downtime, and no risk of infection. They've been in business for 5 years. They've had a ton of success stories already, including mine. We just had that event, Saturday, and appreciate a lot of folks telling me I looked great with my recent weight loss. Some of that is the time that I've spent at Contours. Feel better about yourself and fit better in your clothes with the help of Contours. Try it now for just $99, and if you bring the bride or groom, their visit is free. So call Contours 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960, ContoursLLC.com. After all, don't you want to be like Keith and lose a couple of inches of fat before your big day? Well, summer is rapidly approaching, but the heat is already here, and Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they're sending you to the beach. That's right. Now, you buy any new home AC unit this month, and you are entered to win a free 3-day beach trip getaway. That's right. Busy Bee is going to pay for your gas, your lodging, and a couple of meals a day. Check out all the details at busybeehvac.com. They're also saving you money with 10% off their deluxe air duct cleaning package or 5% off the middle tier. So what's happening is you're saving money and cleaning the air inside your home. Save money on plumbing work as well with Busy Bee. Take $100 off any service over $500 or a 10% off select water filtration systems. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 615-775-7833. Every month, Busy Bee has a number of ways to save you money. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. When you call them, don't forget to ask how to become a Beehive member. busybeehvac.com.
Okay, so Eastern Split at 40 eastbound before I-24. There is an accident. 3 right lanes are blocked off by it. Westbound on 24 in the Antioch area, watch for an accident on the right shoulder just before Hickory Hollow Parkway. And then 24 eastbound in East Bank. You've got an accident. It's at Shelby Avenue, and it is off to the shoulder this morning. And we're hearing that there are some areas this morning that are already experiencing these storms. Someone, a super texter, saying they drove in to Nashville on River Road. There's a lot of poles down, trees down in that area. Be careful driving this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So this, in case you didn't know, Chris and Joan, this is the state anthem for the state of Tennessee, celebrating, by the way, the 230th year of existence.
Oh.
Happy birthday, state of Tennessee.
Nice.
So this is the, so is this?
This is my homeland, Tennessee, 1925. It was the first official state song.
All right. Am I allowed as a out-of-towner to say, I like Rocky Top better?
No.
Or am I going to get like, dang Californian?
Because I'm going to be honest, that was the first time I've ever heard that song.
Oh, okay.
But I think most Tennesseans would recognize this as the actual state anthem.
There you go.
There you go. Play it a little longer so Dan gets kicked off Spotify.
Again.
Conway's version.
All right. Who's got the best version of Rocky Top?
Ooh,
that's a rough one, isn't it?
That is a rough one.
All right.
You got Conway, you got the Osborne Brothers, you got Dolly Parton, you got the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
If you don't say Dolly Parton, you ain't a Tennessean.
I don't know.
So
Osborne Brothers are also from Tennessee.
Anyway, oh, by the way, real quickly, we do have a list, Chris. Hello, Chris.
What's up?
We do have a list of a lot of things that actually originated in the state of Tennessee. But first, we have something that we need to clarify. Joan.
Uh-oh.
Fake News Jones strikes again.
At it again.
Did I do it again?
So we're talking about like Pride Month.
She's always doing this.
It's always Joan, isn't it? So we're talking about like, it's Gay Pride Month, right? So,
woo!
Of course, yeah. So, but we're talking about...
It's my favorite month.
About how, a couple of red states, including ours, celebrating Nuclear Family Month as opposed to Gay Pride, so on and so forth. But in Boston... in Boston, they are celebrating Trans Period Pride.
Yep, I saw this.
Okay.
What's for all the menstruating men?
So I was trying to, like, in my old adult brain, I'm trying to figure out exactly what are we talking about here.
We put the men in menstruate.
That's exactly right.
Oh.
So I was trying to figure out, is this like men who identify as women and they want to somehow like have a menstruation period thing, or is this women who identify as men so we can say that men have menstruation?
If you want to go into the men part,
cycles.
I saw some stuff on the underbelly of the internet that will scar you for life.
Yeah.
So they're just to mimic what it would be like. They're freezing tomato sauce.
They're freezing tomato sauce?
No.
And then they're putting it somewhere to thaw.
Jeez.
What?
They're freezing tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And then they're putting it somewhere to thaw.
Somewhere that might be around body temperature, 98.6.
Are they putting it up their butt?
They're putting it up their butt, Dan.
Oh, don't.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. We put the men in menstruate.
Hey, Joan, can I ask a serious
core.
Joan, can I ask a serious question?
Yeah.
Like, is there a little bit of stolen valor going on?
You bet there
That's
is.
the perfect way to put that.
I mean, it is. It's like Joan, I mean, she's been dealing with that since she was probably like 13 years old, whatever.
Exactly. Yep.
And these guys think that they can just put a little tomato sauce where the sun don't shine and think it's the same thing.
I'm so grossed out by that.
Or
it's a real thing, by the way.
Or they actually figure out a way to bleed out of the rectum.
No.
Yep.
People are having their Cheerios, please.
Listen, you get yourself a good case of hemorrhoids. What? It's a fact, isn't it?
The doctor's like, I told you to stop pushing so hard.
Anyway, whatever. So this is what so what's the fake news? So they're giving away, Chris, period underwear will be offered to all attendees. Joan, in the 5 o'clock hour, Fake News Jones said there is no such thing as period underwear.
I stand corrected.
And I don't know, Joan, if you heard from anybody, but...
Yeah, well, I was watching the super text line.
Okay, super text line went crazy. My wife also said, period underwear is actually a thing. By the way, Chris, do you know what period underwear is?
I'm pretty much assuming what it would be.
What do you assume it would be?
Specialized undergarments for that time of the month?
Yeah, it's like... it's like reusable. So when you have
as opposed to the other underwear that's not reusable?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Well, so a woman may not want to wear a pad or a tampon, so they wear underwear that I guess is absorbent. Is that what I'm talking about, Joan? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's absorbent.
You're basically doing cloth diapers.
Perhaps.
So
I feel like we should open up the phone lines. If any woman is, hey, I'm going to get fired for this. Hey, Sam, take the phone lines off hold. If you're a woman who you've actually worn, no, I'm serious. I want to know if you've worn period underwear and you're a woman. Call up and let it, because clearly Joan hasn't.
Is this like the free bleed movement?
I don't know what it is, but if you are a woman that has worn period underwear, I'm just curious. We're just curious.
Those free bleeders are actually really nice to have when you're out deep sea fishing.
615-737-9986. Do you know, they may have had period underwear for Joe. Look at the phone lines go. So maybe Joe Biden, maybe that's what they needed for Biden, because he needed something absorbent. Clearly, we saw what happened at the Vatican.
He had to change his pants.
I remember that. Was it the Vatican? Was it the Vatican?
He was visiting the Pope.
Okay.
Not Chicago Pope, but the other Pope.
The other Pope, sure. Anyway, so I don't think
apparently people find it absolutely disgusting. So I was a dude.
Well, yeah, but there's another phone call.
Thank you. I love how I get to accept this.
Monica on the text line says, "Sounds like depends to me."
Yeah, it sounds like depends.
That's exactly it.
It sounds like a period depends. That's what it is. So I guess not a big deal. Maybe we don't need to take calls from women.
7896 said, "Why are we giving this any airtime?"
Yes,
because we tackle the tough subjects here.
Not during this segment.
We do.
At least we don't make a whole show out of it. Anyway, so I don't know if people are calling, whatever. All right, so
a lot of people wanted to weigh in.
Apparently not. Well, I see. I think Sam is just not putting them through because, that's what Sam does. Anyway.
1307 says tampons and pads mess up a woman's hormones and pH balance.
See, this I
Lisa,
agree.
Lisa
Can
says,
of worms has been unleashed.
Why? Lisa says that period underwear is just disgusting. Well, okay, she's a woman, so it's fine.
I feel like this is time for a Daily Dan poll.
You know what? I think we're. Hey, let's just go ahead and not.
No.
Are we really gonna do this? Are we gonna take this call from
somebody's
Lindsay
actually
in Gallatin?
No.
Wait a minute. Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna take a call from Lindsay in Gallatin on period underwear?
It's your show, man.
No.
You gotta make the call.
Everybody, we're gonna do this.
Oh, Captain, my captain. We'll go down with the ship if that's what you want to do.
This is a democracy.
I swim really well.
Speak for yourself.
Chris, yes or no?
I'm here for it.
All right. I'm here for it. Sam?
I'm going to hide under the desk while you do it.
All right. That's a no. Joan?
I have to prepare the next newscast.
Quite a few people are saying tampons are toxic.
She just does the news, boys.
I just do the news, boys.
Lindsay, go ahead real quick. We don't have a lot of time. So do you have experience with these period tampons or period underwears?
Yes, sir. Period underwear do exist. The hospital gave me some. I have a bleeding disorder, and they decided that these reusable things, which, yes, frankly, you are supposed to put a pad in, they're their own. It is like a big washable, reusable cloth diaper, and I got several pairs from the hospital.
So when they gave you this thing, Lindsay, what did you think? Like, were you like, hey, I'm going to get excited to put these on? Or were you like, what in the world?
I was rather horrified. They're like this weird little cloth netting thing with this built-in pad situation, and you can't tell which is the front side or the back side. They're like hospital socks. You just put them on.
Okay.
I immediately regret voting for you to take these calls.
Do you? All right, Lindsay, thank you for letting us know and giving us the scoop on period underwear.
5612 texted in and said, can we please change the bloody subject?
Yeah.
Hey, so we mentioned that it is...
I wonder if this will leave a stain on your record, Dan.
Speaking of James Tallarico.
Did you hear where...
Trashville Morning News.
Did you hear where... look, inquiring minds wanted to know. 7-8-30. Mandis, what is wrong with you?
I wanted to do a list of things Tennessee contributed to the world.
Whatever. Go ahead. So it is the 200...
Best we can do is period underwear. Sorry.
All right, moving right along.
Oh, my gosh. You learn a little, you learn a lot.
It is Tennessee's 230th birthday. So
took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point as a state.
So we wanted to find out, what has Tennessee done for the country? What have we started in the state of Tennessee? I'm reasonably convinced it wasn't period underwear. I bet you that started in Massachusetts.
Nashville's Morning News. That's what started here in the state of Tennessee.
There you go.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a proud moment, this segment, now.
Mountain Dew's Tennessee.
Hey, Joan, will you look up where did that period underwear, where did that actually start? Where was that invented? Can you look that up? There's no way that it was in Tennessee. Sam, please regale us with all of the great things that Tennessee has contributed to the nation.
If you want to go back to the start in the late 1760s, there was a group of colonists from North Carolina and Virginia that said, hey, we're done paying taxes to the British. They were some of the first people to kind of announce that publicly and moved westward as a result, settling in the Watauga River area. But as far as just contributions across the board, you have Oak Ridge contributed to the Manhattan Project for the atom bombs in World War II. The first tow truck was invented in Chattanooga. Miniature golf was invented down in Lookout Mountain. As far as truck refrigeration goes, how we ship, produce and stuff across the country, that was really kind of expedited in Tennessee and came about.
Yep.
The Goo Goo Cluster, cotton candy, moon pies, as Chris said, Mountain Dew, bottled Coca-Cola. The first bottling of Coke occurred in Chattanooga.
Mountain Dew was started in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You chased it with your moonshine.
Jack Daniels, of course, was started in the state of Tennessee.
Jack Daniels, George Dickel, Rattle and Snap, Bellmead Bourbon, there's plenty. Piggly Wiggly grocery stores, RC Cola, Lay's potato chips, Maxwell House coffee, the Modern Dumpster, believe it or not, Typewriter Ribbon.
Now, how about the Dumpster Fire, which was, of course, this segment? Was that invented here in the state of Tennessee?
It was entirely self-inflicted by a man from L.A.
Joan, did we get where they were invented?
Yeah.
Where?
So it began in 2009 in India, of all places.
Okay.
First patented, the first modern period panty was patented in 2009 to help girls and women avoid leaks and stains. There you go.
Because they care so much about that in India.
Mario has a great point. Dolly Parton was started in Tennessee.
That's true.
There you go.
Was she born in Tennessee? I don't think she was.
Yeah.
Was she born in Tennessee?
So.
Okay, very good. Love Dolly Parton. Yeah, Mario says Dolly Parton. Enough said.
Sequoia's Cherokee syllabary.
Okay, very good.
First written language of the Cherokees.
Dolly Parton was born in a one-room cabin in Pittman Center in Sevier County in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains.
Just amazing.
Yep.
Now she's going to open her own truck stop, which I'm stoked about.
Did you see that? She's
I'm looking forward to it.
going to rival Buc-ee's.
Well, that's exactly what it is. So, this means that Matt Murphy has someplace to go that is not Buc-ee's.
Does he not like Buc-ee's?
Oh.
Come on.
No, Matt does not like Buc-ee's.
Oh.
I forget.
Matt's a contrarian. He doesn't like it because everybody else does.
I forget why Matt Murphy doesn't like Buc-ee's, but he just doesn't like Buc-ee's.
It's because everybody told him that it was awesome, that he should go.
Is that what it was?
If you do that enough to Matt Murphy, he'll go the other way.
Oh, really?
That's what happens when you work at Waffle House for an extended period of time.
All that grease gets into your head.
Well, people say, hey, this is awesome, you should go. And if you worked in a place that people say that about, you're like, no, it's not. Shut up.
I think it was like that about In-N-Out, actually.
But it's nice because once you know that, the opposite is true as well. So you can tell him to do the opposite of what you actually want him to do, and then he'll do what you really intended the whole time.
Okay. Yep. 5286 says we just got to go with the flow. What?
Sundrop was created in Pulaski.
All right.
Crystal in Chattanooga. And Tennessee invented hot chicken.
That's true.
Cracker Barrel started in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
1607 said the tow truck was invented in Tennessee.
Yeah, down in Chattanooga in
So was not paying your car note.
Cordell Hull from Byrdstown, Tennessee, is a U.S. Secretary of State under FDR, earned the Nobel Peace Prize in 1945 for his pivotal role in founding the United Nations.
Yeah.
Kind of regret that now.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. I think we're done now. I think we're done.
You're saying that it's over? You're sure it's over?
I'm not sure that it's over, but here's what I do know. The air conditioning is broken in this room.
Yeah, it's broken
and it
everywhere.
Is it? Are people so it is
dust-encrusted news
except
corner.
for the hallway.
You go out into the hallway, but like the air conditioner is broken in the studios. It is like 90 degrees in here. And I'm just like glad that I get to leave. I'm sorry, Chris, but you get to be in the sauna.
It's all right.
I bet it's still on at Titans Radio. Just saying.
Do you know what? Dang, Joan.
I'm just saying the obvious.
Hey, why don't you go? Hey, Chris.
Yeah, will you go down the hall?
Go over to Titans Radio and just see if it's working in there.
Yeah.
I will.
I think
because if not, there's a lot of big guys in there sweating their faces off.
Well,
You'll know just by looking through the window.
Sounds like that's a job for Joan then.
I pass.
Anyway, so Joan, what is coming up after the news at 9?
Yeah, the Carmelo Anthony trial begins today. We've got some details on what's happening there coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.